What does it take to be the lead singer of Skid Row? Do Brad and Coach have the knowledge it would take to know thy rocker? We have a triple-headed snake this week's Song Smash. We have viewer requests in the Fan 5. First, we have an exclusive interview with Cyanide frontman Rob Hussey. All that and more after this.
Excuse me? All right, party on. Here's some more clap for the fans.
Welcome back to Three Guys and a Record podcast. I'm your host, Coach K. Along with me is Brad and Doug. Oh, hey, Brad and Doug. Last year, Skid Row, with the help of national instrument retailer Sweetwater, started a worldwide search for a new singer following the departure of Eric Ronwell for health reasons. Joining us today from Sin City is singer Rob Hussey, one of the hopefuls going through the audition process. Rob, thanks for your time and for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks. Fresh out of band practice. We appreciate your time. So to get to know you a little bit better, just wanted to take you back a little bit. Tell us how old you were when you got kind of the music bug, and what were some of your beginnings?
My earliest memories are I'm probably 3 years old. My dad had this amazing stereo in the basement, and, I wanted to know how to work this stereo, but, I was 3. So my first memory is of getting in a little bit of trouble for messing with the stereo because, the dials need to stay where they're at.
These go to 11.
Especially those stereos back then. My dad was like Beatles, Led Zeppelin. God, he had just this amazing vinyl collection. And so the first record, when I was about 4, I finally convinced my dad to show me how to use the turntable so I could put a record on. And so he was very meticulous the way he cleaned his records. And so he instilled that in me early on, how to take care of your stuff. And so the first record of his that I started putting on my own was Abbey Road by the Beatles. That was the first record that spoke to me. And so that was that. Led Zeppelin was always on. And then when I was about 6, for some strange reason, I was allowed to hang out with these kids in the neighborhood that were like 14, right? And so I'm over at this kid's house and he's got a Kiss poster on his wall as a Love Gun poster. I've never seen anything like this. And, are those girls? He's like, no, man, that's Kiss. And he takes Love Gun out and puts it on and drops the needle, and I Stole Your Love starts. And I was transformed immediately. It was instantaneous. From that moment on, all throughout my childhood, all I would talk about was Kiss. If you were in my proximity, we were going to talk about the rock group Kiss. In much the same way a Jehovah's Witness might show up at your house and want to speak about, I would show up at your house. Do you have a moment to talk about the rock group Kiss? And so it was just funny like that. And it pretty much just stayed that way. I got a drum set when I was 7. I started out on the drums. I wanted to be Peter Criss. My aunt got me this cool little drum set. I had never played drums before, but my uncle, my dad's brother, had a band, and I got to go to one of their band rehearsals when I was maybe 5. And I remember just only watching the drummer. For some reason, I only cared what the drummer was doing. And I was just watching him do it. And when I had my drum set, I just literally sat down behind it and started playing Love Gun like I knew how to play drums or something. My mom was like, what on earth? How do you know how to? I don't know. And so that was really the beginning of it all. And then from that moment on, just Kiss, 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 everything Kiss. Drumming. I used to put like white baby powder on my face, so I had I had makeup on. I wrote Kiss on the front of the bass drum, Peter Criss, #1 rock drummer. And, it stayed that way until 1983 when Shoutout the Deville and Peace of Mind And the first Queensryche album came out that year, I want to say. Screaming for Vengeance had come out the year before. You know, all of a sudden there was just all this heavy metal in my life. But going back to the day that I discovered Kiss, you know, I instantly, as soon as my dad came home from work that day, I'm like, Dad, you got to give me an allowance because I have to buy all these Kiss albums and Kiss posters, you know? And so that's, you know, he gave me some chores and started giving me a little allowance. And I just bought everything I could find that had to do with Kiss, right up until 83 when I had to start spending my money on other bands. And that's just really how it started and how it all came from. And I played drums until I was like 40. I didn't start singing in a band until then. And especially in the 80s, you know, I'm not a tall, thin man, you know, and in the 80s, you know, those singers really just needed to be tall and thin. And I was not that. So I was happy to just hide behind my drum set and sing really good backing vocals. I went back to school late in life. I went to college when I was 35. Once I graduated, I said to myself, if I'm ever going to do this singing thing, I have to do it now before it's too late. And then a couple days later, I see this ad in a local magazine, Vegas Rocks, that Sally Steele was running at the time. She still runs Vegas Rocks, but it's no longer a print magazine, it's online. And there was the ad, you know, Aces High, Iron Maiden tribute band, searching for Bruce Dickinson, you know, and I'm already driving around in my car singing Iron Maiden songs anyway. I'm like, I got to call these guys, you know, and so I did set up an audition, and I really had no thoughts that I was actually going to get chosen. I just wanted to go in a room with musicians that knew how to play Iron Maiden music and sing these songs, you know, and I thought it'd just be fun and that'd be the end of it. But then they picked me. And so now, you know, I remember at the rehearsal being totally, my voice just being pretty shredded after about 7 songs. And I remember thinking, when they asked me if I wanted the gig, I remember thinking, shit, how do you get to the point where you could do that for 2 hours, you know? And that's really just how everything started. I had only been playing original music up until then and only playing drums. And so, you know, this was my first dip into the singing pool was an Iron Maiden tribute.
That was easy.
If I'm going to climb a mountain, I want it to be the tallest mountain known to man. And that mountain is Mount Dickinson, you know, that guy. You know, what can you say that hasn't already been said, you know?
Yeah.
So
well, that's awesome. You had your backup plan. It's like, okay, now it's time to go for it and just, you know, leave it. So no regrets.
No regrets.
So that's awesome. Well, my next question was going to be, at what point was there a pivotal moment where you said, or came to you, was it a song or a concert that, you know, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
It was the moment I bought Kiss Alive 2, put it on and open it up, and oh my God, what is that stage? And so it you know, I just looked at it and I'm like, that's what I want to do. I don't have any idea how one does that, but I want to do that. Whatever they were doing inside the gatefold of Kiss Alive 2. And I think every kid in my neighborhood there, I didn't know any kids at that point in life that weren't Kiss fanatics. You know, we all had the Kiss action figures. We all had the records. We all loved Kiss. It was a very glorious existence right up until the moment I Was Made for Loving You came out. Because my dad had exposed me to various kinds of music, when I heard I Was Made for Loving You and saw the colorful costumes, I wasn't offended, you know, I was just happy there was a new Kiss album. But every other kid on my block suddenly was like, Kiss sucks, man. And so now I start fighting with the kids because I've grown to love Kiss so much at this point that if you're going to insult them, you might as well be insulting my mother, you know, like, so you started fighting with all the kids in the neighborhood, especially when The Elder came out. When The Elder came out, it got pretty brutal as far as kids, you know, then kids were coming after me like, that's the guy that likes Kiss. Let's get him. So yeah, it was that moment though, Kiss Alive 2.
I actually just want to comment one part of your story that really struck me, Rob, when you're talking about asking your dad for allowance to go buy that stuff. It sounded like he was pretty supportive of your dream, and you don't hear that a whole lot when it comes to music. I thought that that was a great part of that story.
He was very supportive. He did make sure to let me know that my chances of ever making any money doing this were slim to none. And so I better stay in school and do all that. But you can also play music too, And so, and I did. I stayed in school, and even though when I graduated high school, he was ready to send me to college then, and I'm like, nah, I don't need to go to college. I'm totally going to be a rock star, And he's like, well, that's great, but what if it doesn't happen? You need to figure out how to make some money. And I was like, you don't understand, man. This is already a done deal. All right. It's literally just a matter of time until it happens. And then, later in life, when I did go back to college, I had to pay for that. And so if I have any regrets, it's maybe that I didn't take him up on his offer to go to college when I was 18, save myself some money. And the only, we were talking about regret a minute ago. I do sometimes regret that I didn't pursue singing in the 80s when this whole thing was actually really happening. And man, I could sing even a lot better back then,
Well,
So
during the 80s, we all thought that it was going to last forever.
I did, I just still can't believe that it's not.
Yeah.
Well,
So
it's guys like you that are bringing it back, though.
I try, it's my mission in life to, at least here in this town in Las Vegas, to keep this kind of heavy metal alive. And that's why I am willing to put the time to have so many different bands. It gives Cyanide a really good opportunity to open for 3 different bands. Somehow I've been lucky enough that the venues that book me are willing to let me book Cyanide as my own opening act for, Red Hot or Play Dirty or Flight 666. And what a blessing that is, I mean, gosh, it keeps Cyanide's more active than the tribute bands, because those shows rotate, but Cyanide's almost always the opening act. And so,
So if you're singing lead vocals for Cyanide as the opener to your tribute band, and then you're singing lead vocals for your tribute band that night, are you doing a show the next night, or are you not talking to anybody? Because your voice has got to be pretty well gone by the end of that.
It recovers pretty good these days. Now that I've been doing this a while, during the winter, when you pick up a bug and, the first thing that suffers is your voice. I had a couple of shows where it was very challenging to get through the night, but I'm a singer that is completely willing to forgo any alcoholic beverages before a show, or anything at all that might cause me to sing even a little less than I want to. It's really important to me because I watch videos afterwards and pick myself apart and whatever. And so if I don't do everything that was possible to make that video as good as it could be, I'd sit there beating myself up the next day. So that helps. That definitely helps get through shows like that. Cyanide will be like 60 minutes. Red Hot or Iron Maiden will be like 90 minutes. The Iron Maiden night is obviously, it's always the hardest, I might throw some easier songs into the Cyanide set that night,
Mm-hmm.
But one good thing about the Iron Maiden thing that I don't really ever hear anyone talk about this, but I've come to appreciate over the years of singing Iron Maiden, those 3-minute or 4-minute guitar solos or instrumental breaks. I mean, I don't know that I could pull those songs off if that wasn't the case. If those were 3 or 4-minute songs, it might not be something I could do. I don't know, but I do know that I appreciate those breaks.
Oh yeah. I suppose a night where you kind of feel it's struggling a little bit. All right, we're throwing in Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner tonight. I'm gonna need a break. I need that.
Phantom of the Opera, To Tame
Yeah.
a Land, all of the 8-minute epics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of those were probably written just for that purpose.
I wonder sometimes, but it really does help. Some nights the Motley Crue actually might be a little more challenging because, Vince's vocals are no joke. I mean, they're all up there, and I am really lucky that I've got some fantastic band members in all these bands, but especially in the Motley Crue tribute band and the Iron Maiden tribute band, the backing vocals that they pull off just they're kind of what makes the show possible at the level that we're able to give it.
Yeah, with the tribute bands gaining popularity, the nostalgia, us those 50 somethings like us that are help keeping the 80s music scene alive.
Yeah.
How are those shows going? Are you seeing a bigger and bigger following when you're performing?
It's definitely growing. Starting last June, I started playing music again. I think my first show back was August of 23. It was a Flight 666 gig. It was just Flight 666 for a while. I was behind the scenes trying to put together the Motley Crew. When Cyanide was together before, people used to always say, why in the do you not have a Motley Crue tribute band, And back then at Counts Vamped, Counts Vamped and Vince Neil, that bar used to be called Feel Goods, and Vince was part owner. And I'm not really quite sure what went down, but for whatever reason, they had a falling out, and then Vince wasn't involved in the bar anymore. I know they've mended fences since and they're all friends again, but at the time, it was like, no, we really just don't want to book a Motley Crue tribute band here, not at this time. And so I held off putting it together because of that. And then after COVID in 23, when I finally came out of my slumber, I was like, all right, well, not only am I going to do a new Cyanide record, but Motley Crue, Iron Maiden, and then the Poison thing came later. And that's kind of how I ended up with 3 tribute bands. But yeah, it was something people were always telling me, why aren't you doing this? You're an idiot. You should totally be doing this. We would play a lot of Motley Crue songs in our set, back then. It's really cool to be doing, and it really does go over well, the Motley Crue tribute. We play almost the entire Shoutout to Deville and Too Fast for Love albums. That's like the main part of our existence. And then obviously the hits, and then just a few deep cuts off Feel Good, Girls, and Theater of Pain. We haven't gone past Primal Scream yet.
I haven't gone past Primal Scream yet.
See, as a Motley fan, I have. I mean, I'm a big fan of mostly everything they've done. I would love to be able to go out there and play some cool songs off Saints of Los Angeles, but we live in a time now where the casual fans outnumber the diehard fans. Mm-hmm. And so if you start doing that, you start seeing people go outside, and it's not good for your band. So I was working on the Cyanide album alone, and because I really didn't even intend that I was going to put together a new lineup of Cyanide. I was just going to put the record out and let it do whatever it does, And then somewhere along the way, I changed my mind and, gosh, this record's turning out so good. I have to go play these songs live. But in the meantime, it was just Flight 666. Once everything finally got going, it was really something. What happened was I had asked Corey Coker, who is Danny the Count Coker's wife. She is the entertainment director at Counts Vamp. And I asked her if she would, let me do a Cyanide album release party there. And so she gave me a date in June. And then I was like, I got this Motley Crue band finally. And I know you said you're open to a Motley Crue tribute now because things are good between them and Vince and everything. And so she ends up booking Cyanide album release on Thursday night, Play Dirty, Poison tribute on Friday night, and Red Hot on Saturday night. So I did a 3-night stand at Vamp. Up until that point, I had a decent following around here, but I wasn't packing rooms, And then the Thursday night Cyanide show was a really good turnout, especially for a Thursday night. It was, I think there was 150 people there. Friday night for Poison, there was 250 people. And then I don't know if everyone was talking to each other or what happened, but on Saturday night, it was 350 people, and they had to shut the door and stop letting people in. And so that was like the first night that I had, like a really successful show like that. And it's kind of just snowballed since then. Even though Counts Vamp closed, they closed later that month in June. And when I booked these shows, I had been playing at Vamp for like 15 years. When I booked those 3 shows, I did not know Vamp was closing, We didn't find out until early in June. So we really made the most of those 3 nights because we knew that it was the last 3 times we were going to play at Vamp. And, Counts Vamp is just a beloved spot in the history of this music scene that will just never be forgotten, And we're all we're all still kind of in mourning that it's, that it's not here. I'm in the process of trying to put together what I consider to be a small version of an arena rock show for all four of these bands. It's a different stage for each band. And as this keeps growing, the cool thing is there's different people there every time. It's not the same crowd, although there is a lot of, there's certainly a lot of regulars and a lot of, close friends and supporters that are always there. But I've noticed lately there's more new people at every show. And then we've been playing a lot at this Tuscany Suites hotel and casino here in Vegas. And these are all ages shows. So people are now bringing their little kids to our shows. The last Play Dirty show, there was like a 5-year-old boy down front of the stage singing along to every Poison song. I finally gave him my hat and gave him the microphone and let him sing. And it's like, if I was 5 and I was watching a band and someone did that for me, I would never forget that. And so I was just so excited that there was any kids there that was digging what we're doing. And so that's been happening a lot more as well.
Some great parenting there.
That's what I told them, because the parents came up to me after the show to thank me because it was their kid that found out that the show was happening. And he's like, you got to take me to this concert. And so it was his first concert. And of course, they're always wanting to get out of the house. And so it was like a perfect opportunity for them to have a night out. It made me really appreciate being able to do this, that, even changing one kid's life is worth it, So yeah.
You're going to be in some kid's story 30 years down the road, and he's going to talk about being 5 years old and getting that itch.
How fun would that be?
Because this guy,
he actually grows up and becomes the rock star and says, yeah, man, I saw this dude singing Poison.
Nice.
But yeah, it's been really cool, really building it this time. I don't, before COVID, when I was doing this, I don't know that I was really looking at any kind of end game like that, or like, I want to take this and build this giant arena rock show and put it on a big stage in a big showroom, but that is in fact the goal now. And so now that I have that goal, everything feels a lot more crystal clear now.
If I wanted to get into the Cyanide stuff a little bit in terms of the production and how that came about, I know we're looking at what you said is your studio is the production process, and how do you write your songs in the studio? Do they come to you, in the middle of the night and you got to get up and write them down? And then when you go through the actual production and the recording, do you have the live band in there with you, or are you playing the instruments? How does all that work?
It is just me. The first Cyanide record was Mark, the original Cyanide guitar player, Mark Mersal, and I. We wrote that record together. I was playing drums and singing. He was playing bass and guitar. He brought in half the songs. I brought in half the songs. We made each other's songs better is what we did. When he left the band, right before COVID is when he left the band. Him and his wife had a child. He just came to me one day and said, I don't want to ever become that dude in the band that's the weak link, and, I'm raising my daughter now, and I don't feel like I have what it takes to, keep doing this. And so that's when he bowed out. And so when that happened, I was devastated because A, one of my best friends ever, B, my songwriting partner, C, we recorded at his studio. I didn't even have a studio. And he had all the know-how. When he left, at that point, I just had like this little old 18-track recorder, a standalone workstation. I didn't even know anything about running Pro Tools. But when he left, it was like, well, I guess I have to figure this out alone now, And so I sold all my gear and got new gear, and I got Pro Tools, and I just started making demos here. Getting back to your question, that is how my process came to be, because it was different before. My process now is, and of course it varies per song, because a song like Fireball, I'm an animal, breaking all the law, shots going down, that was premeditated. We were opening for Grim Reaper and Doro Pesh during the first Cyanide album, and when we got out there, the first Cyanide album is just a Sunset Strip party album. It's just party, 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 party. There's really no actual metal on there. But once we were opening for bands like that, I realized we don't have any metal to offer this crowd, So we started throwing in a Judas Priest, Metallica, Iron Maiden. I was already an Iron Maiden cover band. And that's when it hit me, you know, when we get around to doing the next album, I want not just my Motley Crue and Kiss influences and my Rat influences, but I want my Metallica, my Iron Maiden, my Judas Priest. There's even a little bit of Slayer and Anthrax on a couple of the songs on this new record that crept in there. So Fireball. I had it in my head because we had been playing Free Will Burning by Judas Priest, and I had it in my head that the next Cyanide album, it must open with a fast, heavy song. And right away, I'm thinking Judas Priest. I'm thinking high, screaming vocals, and all I had at that point was I had the title Fireball, and I had the Is Everybody High, you know, scream in my head. Is everybody high? And I built the song around that. And how that happened was I came in here and I start playing my guitar. A few hours later, I've arranged the composition of the song, just guitar. By the time I'm done recording the guitar to a click track, the drums have already formulated themselves in my head somehow, which I consider to be a huge blessing. And so once the guitar takes me a long time, I'm not a good guitar player, but I can get by enough to write these songs. As soon as I'm done with that, I immediately go over here. There's a drum set right next to me, and the drums are done in like 5 minutes. I mean, literally the whole time I'm playing guitar, I can already tell what I'm going to play on drums. And then when it's done, I just go do it. And then that's over with. And then I put some bass on there. You know, I might add other guitar tracks, start layering vocals, whatnot. But then there's other songs like Sweet Little Trash on the new record. Are you sweet little trash? I was asleep in the midst of a glorious dream that it was still 1989 and they still played heavy metal on the radio. In this dream, I'm listening to the radio and the DJ says, here's the brand new single from Rat. And the song starts playing. And it was so good that it woke me up. It's like 2:00 in the morning. And normally when something like that happens, a few minutes later, you can't even remember what you were just dreaming about, you know? Mm-hmm. But in this case, the whole song was just playing in my head as if it already existed. And so I jumped out of my bed and I ran in here in the studio and I got enough of it down so that I wouldn't forget any of it. And it became Sweet Little Trash. And it's pretty much exactly how it is on the record is how I was hearing it in my dream. So it varies. And then there might be sometimes like social media disease. Social media disease. All I knew was that I saw everybody fighting on the internet every day about various things. And I see family members disowning each other over a difference of opinion on, you know, and I see people just intentionally going on people's posts and just with them, you know, like they've got nothing better to do. And so that's when the title Social Media Disease came to me, because I am watching all this happen on the interwebs. Like, God, social media, I got to write a song about this, you know? And so I came in here with just a title, knowing that I wanted to write something fast and heavy that had to do with that. And so Take What You Want, we were talking about Take What You Want earlier. Don't ever take what they give you. Take what you want. I'm a long-suffering Oakland Raiders.
Oh no! We suck again!
Now Las Vegas Raiders fan. I grew up a Raiders fan. My dad was a Raiders fan. And so, you know.
They moved closer to you.
They did. They came here
they came to
near
you.
Me. There was a point in my life where I was trying to figure out how I could move to the Bay Area so I could be near the Raiders. And it didn't quite work out, but then they found me. And so this one night, I'm up late drinking, watching these old Raiders DVDs. And there's this Al Davis interview from like 1960. Maybe it's 62. I'm not sure exactly the year, but he's talking about his football philosophies. And he says these words. He says, people always tell me to take what the defense is giving me. And he says, and I always went the other way with that. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to take what I want. They'll only use and abuse you. Take what you want. Light bulb. Take what you want. Absolutely. And so the whole the whole premise of Take What You Want is that whole Raiders mentality of the 60s and 70s, you know, when they were a scary team. You know, teams were sometimes afraid to go play the Raiders, you know.
I didn't care as much about being respected as I cared about being feared.
So they might get their head taken off.
I love the idea that I know down deep they fear us.
Same with the fans.
Yeah, same with the fans. And you know, they were very intimidating in the 70s, and Al's interview and the way he was, you know, it was like that team became like the embodiment of his psyche. And so I was like, I have to write a song for that man, just for everything that he created. And even if, you know, people that hate the Raiders, they still realized, man, Al Davis was a bad man. You know, he took on the whole entire NFL and won, you know. He takes what he wants. And so that's what the whole song is about. It's about those Raider teams and how they just went out there and took what they wanted. And it applies to all of us. You know, if you really want something out of life, nobody is going to give it to you, hardly ever. And so if you really want something that bad, you really just kind of have to go out there and make it happen. So,
rock and roll and life lessons all in one.
another song, I love telling these stories about how these songs came to be. Rock and Roll Army. We want you, the Rock and Roll Army. We want you. Is the first song that I ever wrote with my dear friend Danny Goldstein, who's no longer with us. We met in 8th grade, and you know, we didn't like each other at first. I was kind of an asshole of a kid in junior high school. And so, but somehow we would still talk about music, even though we weren't really friends. And so he tells me one day that he's got this band, and I'm like, shut up. You ain't got no band. He's like, yeah, man, we got this song, Rock and Roll Army, you know, and he sings the chorus to me. And like, my opinion of Danny Goldstein instantly changed. Like, suddenly I like this dude. I want to be friends with this guy. That's a good song. I tell him, you know, what's the rest of it? And he's like, well, that's all we got, you know, like, we're looking for a drummer though. And I heard you play drums. And so they came over to my house and we set everything up. And, you know, we're like 14 years old. I think Danny was 12 and he had just been playing guitar for a little while. And so he had the riff, he had the chorus. There's nothing else going on about the song though. And at that point, we didn't even know that the bass player and the drummer are supposed to be tuned to the same, you know. So that was like our first order of business, was figuring out, why does this sound so crappy? And then I said, you know, I think you guys are supposed to tune your E string to this. It's supposed to sound the same. I didn't know how to put it into words back then, you know? And so we do that. And so then we instantly sounded way better because now we're in tune. And when we wrote that song, Rock and Roll Army, and that band was only together for 9 months. Danny and I stayed friends, and right up until the end though. Over the course of time, that song was forgotten about. We never recorded it. We sometimes would joke around about it because, you know, we'd be like, remember how bad we sucked back then, you know? And then one day Danny tells me he's writing this book, you know, and he starts asking me all these questions about things we did when we were teenagers, because we had so many different bands together. Rock and Roll Army was one of the main things that we were talking about, you know? And then that's when I said to him, you know, when your book's done, man, I'm going to record this song just for us, you know, so we can have it, you know, because how funny would that be? Yeah, let's do it. And so the book comes out. The book's called Music Won't Pay the Bills. His author name is Goldie Jr. The book comes out and there's like this giant section in the middle. It's all about Rock and Roll Army. And so I'm reading the book and I'm like, okay, Danny, now I'm definitely going to record this song. You know, we have to have this. Before I could actually get around to doing it, he was gone. You know, it was sudden and tragic. And I was like, the day after he passed away, I was just like, I can't believe that I didn't even get that done for him. I came up here in my studio and I'm sitting here trying to remember, how did this song even go? I remember Rock and Roll Army. We want you. We want you, the Rock and Roll Army. We want you, empowered more. Nothing else about the song. And so I call up our other band members, you know, the ones that are still with us. They didn't remember either. And so I look up at the sky. I'm in here in this room. I look up at the sky and I'm like, Danny, how the did this song start? And within 30 seconds, I was playing it, the whole song. And then I wrote new lyrics for it because admittedly, our lyrics in 1986 were not fit for musical consumption. And And I honestly couldn't even remember what the words were, but I knew they weren't good. And so I kept "We Want You," Rock and Roll Army, and I wrote new lyrics. I never could quite remember how the beginning went, so I just, came up with a different thing. And that is how Rock and Roll Army came to exist. It's like every song on the record came about in a completely different way.
Well, you're going to have to write your book now, because these stories are awesome with this album.
I really just love the whole songwriting thing and how different it always is. I'm really looking forward. I'll be honest with you, when Mark left and I knew that if I was going to make a new Cyanide record, it was going to have to be on my own, because there's no way I'm going to put together a band and we're going to argue about writing these songs and it's going to, no, I'm just going to do it. It's going to be really just for me, whether I do anything with it or not. I honestly didn't really think I'd be able to carry an entire album by myself. I had 21 Gun Salute, which Mark and I had written together. 21 Gun Salute! I had Rock and Roll Army that Danny and I had written together in 1986. Although I hadn't started recording that. So I had Fireball, which I wrote alone. 21 Gun Salute that we wrote together. And Take What You Want, which I wrote alone. And honestly, before Mark left, I really kind of thought that might be the extent of my output on this record, because now that I'm firmly the singer and we had a band, I was thinking I would just be the singer and I wouldn't write riffs anymore. So once Mark left and I realized that I had to do this by myself, and I doubted that I could actually do it, but much like with the Iron Maiden singing Climbing Mount Dickinson, I was like, well, I'm never going to know unless I try it. So sooner or later I had 5 songs, and then I had 7 songs. And once I got to like 9, I was like, wow, I'm really going to do this, and sure enough. And so now that I proved to myself that I could do that, I'm really excited about this next Cyanide album, because when I look back over my favorite songwriters, it seems like this is the point in time in their existence where they would have written their best songs. And so I'm really thinking whatever I come up with next is going to be way better than even the first 2 Cyanide albums. And I really just can't, if I didn't love this record so much and I want to work it until there's just no legs left on it, if that wasn't the case, I'd probably already be working on it. And I do have quite a bit of stuff written, but I'm just not actively working on it. But I really think that is going to be, after that, it'll be all downhill, right? The third album will be the best thing I've ever done. And then people will start saying, he's lost it.
Or he sold out.
Yeah, he sold out. Oh God, remember that?
You got the Taylor Swift covered on the 4th album.
I remember when there was all kinds of stories growing up about kids saying this band sold out, that band sold out. The most glaring one was when Theater of Pain came out. Like every kid at school was like, Motley Crue sold out. He's got pink pants. Smoking in the boys' room. And much like with Dynasty by Kiss, I had no problem with the outfits. I had no problem with the album. I thought it was a great album. Now suddenly I'm fighting with people about Motley Crue,
So you have these songs, then you have to find a way to get it out there. What's that process like? I mean, you have to get physical media. You got to get now streaming media.
I'll tell you, the first Cyanide record was just streaming. There was no thought about, oh, we should see if a record label is interested in us, like that just seemed ridiculous. And so streaming only. In fact, that record had been on streaming sites for about 4 years and had not done a damn thing. I think after 4 years, I think it had maybe 10,000 plays total. And then The Dirt came out in 2019. And I remember waking up one morning and I had an email from Spotify and it said, you had 9,000 listeners yesterday. And I'm like, oh, that has to be a mistake, I wasn't even paying attention to Spotify at that point. I was against streaming, in fact. Screw streaming, man. It's physical media or nothing. I had no idea that everyone was gonna, decide that that's what we're doing. We're streaming. When I realized it wasn't a mistake and it was Nikki Sixx in Disguise, it was the song Nikki Sixx in Disguise. It was just getting played like crazy. And it's because his name is in the title and there's some kind of algorithm that recognizes that he's in Motley Crue, and suddenly Motley Crue is having a resurgence because of the Dirt. And because of that, I end up with this hit song it's now got like, over 1 million streams now.
Oh, wow.
For the one song. And pretty crazy, all because of that movie. And so
because you have physical media for this new one, so I want you to, if somebody wants that physical media, we got to know where to get it.
During the Lethal Dose era of Cyanide, I became friends with quite a few people online in the land of Facebook, other musicians in other cities. And at some point, I'm trying to even remember how. It might have been Mike Floros from the band Steel City. Could have been him that put me in touch with John Kivell from Kivell Records. Because once again, while I was recording the new Cyanide album, I certainly didn't think any record label is going to be interested in this guy from Las Vegas that's, never really done anything. And the next thing I know, I'm talking to John Kivell, and then it turns out he wants me on the Kivell Records label, and he's going to release 21 Gun Salute. And so that is how 21 Gun Salute came to be released by Kivell Records. And that is where you can get the physical CD, kivellrecords.com, in their store. They've got Babylon AD and so many great bands on that label right now. And so I was just honored that, he even thought enough of me to include me on his label. That was exciting. And especially in the era that we live in now, you can't really go around thinking that like Geffen's going to call you up. Here comes Elektra offering me a 5-album deal. That's not going to happen. So like the fact that any record label at all liked my music was just such a huge honor. And so I would never be able to thank Kivell Records enough for getting that album out there. I'm actually now at the point, it's done well enough now that I'm going to do a vinyl release. I've been pondering it, and the cost of vinyl has been such that I don't want to have to order 200 copies and not know if I'm going to sell them. And now maybe I'm stuck with these boxes of vinyl. So, but now that you can have a print on demand vinyl store where you don't have to have that giant, inventory of product, I'm finally going to put the first Cyanide album out and 21 Gun Salute on vinyl. And so with that in mind, I've redesigned and reimagined the artwork for both album covers and the back covers and the book. Like everything's going to be new, exciting, and reimagined. I'm going to get going on that,
Well, my next question was who designed the album cover itself?
The 21 Gun Salute album cover, John Kivell hired him. He is the guy that did the album cover for Judas Priest's Firepower, and he did this album cover. Kivell put that together with
Claudio Berganum.
Thank you.
Bergamanin.
This CD isn't unwrapped, so I couldn't open it and look.
Well, we'll have the link to the address that you can buy that physical CD right there. So
yeah,
I got one more thing prior to that, because I really want to know this. Like, Rob, what is the song you're most proud of? When somebody asks what Rob or Cyanide's all about, what's something that you could point them to? What's the song that you point to? This is me.
Ooh, that's a good question. That is a tough one, especially with this new record, because in a lot of ways, it's such a musical journey, like it starts out heavy. And then it gets a little bit glammy for a little while. Your reign of terror is done. And then it drifts back into even heavier than it started out with. And then it ends with the cover of the Climax Blues Band song, I Love You. There's an interesting story of how that song came to be.
All right, because we got to hear that, because actually I heard that on the way home today, and I'm like, that's, I know Brad and Doug are a little bit more critical when it comes to covers, but I thought that was great, and I thought you did it justice. So I'd love to hear that story.
So I had written Never Let Me Go, which is the other ballad on the record. Never let me go. and I had finished the bass, guitar, and drums. And for whatever reason, I had nothing going on up here as far as melody, title, anything to do with the vocals, you know. And it was like 4 months later, still nothing. And I'm starting to think, is this song going to end up being an instrumental that I never could finish? And then one day, this magical melody comes to me and I'm like, oh God. And I run in here in the studio and I fire up Never Let Me Go. And I'm starting to work this melody idea. And then it hits me like, it reminds me of something. And I could not put my finger on it. I know this reminds me of a song though that already exists. So I already know I can't use it, unfortunately. But what is this song? This magical song that I'm hearing in my head? Is it that I thought Elton John sang this song because I was like such a little kid when it was like the #1 single on Billboard. But I remember loving the song when I was a kid.
When I was a younger man, I hadn't a care.
And thinking it was Elton John. And so, you know, when I'm sitting here trying to figure out what it was, I go scouring Elton John's entire catalog, which is quite formidable. There's a lot of stuff to go through there, and I couldn't find it. And I'm like, I know Elton John sang that song, man. I didn't even know what it was called though. And finally I realized it's that song called I Love You. And so then once I had the title and Googled it, of course, Climax Blues Band comes up. And I go listen to the song and I'm like, oh God, I haven't heard this song since I was a little kid. I love this song. You know what? I'm going to cover it and put it on the record. There's some reason why I found this song after all these years. I have to do this. And so that's why that song is on the record, because I couldn't think of anything to sing for my other ballad. Thankfully, after that, a melody did come and Never Let Me Go. Break down the walls for you. Was finished as well. And so that's why there's 2 ballads on the album. There was only supposed to be 1. Take my last breath for you. I'm so in love with. But once I ran across I Love You, I couldn't say no to that. I mean, that song is just timeless.
When you do a cover like that, is there kind of a permission process that you have to go through to record?
Well, I released the album digitally through DistroKid. So the streaming release is through DistroKid. And part of that process of releasing that is they ask you if there's any cover songs on here. And so then once you say yes, and you add the information, and so they now handle that for you. So you pay a fee, and then they get you the license so that you can put the song on your record. I think, like, let's say if I wanted to make a video for that song, I'm pretty sure there's another process I would have to go through for that. And so that might keep me from putting that out as a single. But at the same time, I'm thinking, I don't even know that I need to put that out as a single, because people know that song and people are already going and playing it. So yeah, I don't know. I want to shoot a video for that song, but you know, I really just haven't. There's so much going on with everything that I just haven't even begun to get into that process of how I would get.
So ultimately, when thousands of people see this video and that blows up, there's some royalties that'll go that way to the Climax.
I hope so, man, because when I think of the guitar player's name of Climax Blues Band, his last name is Holt, I want to say. Man, I am having a hard time remembering stuff today, aren't I?
We're putting the names right down below.
Yeah.
So.
He deserves to be a millionaire for writing that song, in my opinion, you know. That song gives me goosebumps. And of course, I still prefer their version because it's the original. And I tried my best to not change anything at all about the vocal. You know, I tried to keep his melody as much as I could. And then musically, of course, it's a little different because my musical style is a little bit different than their band. And also, when I was working it out here alone in my studio, it was only acoustic guitar and a clean rhythm guitar. Once I got into the studio because that's how my process worked. So I made all of the demos here, right? The songs are fully finished in this room right here, fully arranged, lyrics, choruses, backing vocal, everything's there, right? The only thing that's really not there is good guitar playing, because that is not something that I offer. And so it's funny because Ozzy had put out his Patient Number 9 record, and he didn't have a band for that record. He had guest lead guitar players on every song. And so I was working on my record when that record came out. And so when I saw that, I said, you know, I'm just going to ask a bunch of my friends that are great guitar players to come put solos on this record. And what ended up happening is that Jason Constantine, who was producing the record initially before Ty Sims ended up taking over and finishing it, Jason was really good friends with Jeff Duncan from Armored Saint. Good enough friends that he could call him up and say, hey, Jeff, would you come down here and play on this record? And, you know, I knew Jeff a little bit at the time. You know, we weren't like close friends, but, you know, we hung out and I knew him. And so he said yes. And so he came over and he ended up redoing all of my rhythm guitar tracks on that song and just really making them better.
We're meant to be together.
And then later on, a gentleman by the name of Eric Johnson came in, and then he added even more awesome rhythm guitar stuff on there. Those harmonies during the verses and choruses is all Eric Johnson. Jeff Duncan is the clean guitar parts, like at the beginning of the song. And somehow I end up playing the guitar solo on that song because I had put a solo on there as a place marker. I never intended for anybody to hear it because I do not consider myself a good guitar player at all. Something happened with the sessions, the solos that were on there for that song. Jeff Duncan had laid something down. Stoney Curtis had laid something down on Never Let Me Go. Mike Varney of Metal Blade Records fame, he was going to do the solo on I Love You. We did it remotely, and then something happened with the stems and the way they were put in the sessions. I really couldn't explain to you why there was a problem with it. But at some point when the original producer, Jason, left the project and I started working with Ty Sims to finish it, when we got the sessions, we couldn't use those solos for whatever reason. And I was really bummed out because I thought Jeff and Mike Varney had both done an amazing job on their stuff. And I was going to like have the first solo be one guy and the second solo be the other guy, but we couldn't use the tracks. And then Ty hears the demo of that placeholder solo I had, and he didn't know that I had played it. And so when he sent me a mix, then suddenly there's my solo on there. And I'm like, oh, no. That's and he's like, dude, there's nothing wrong with that solo. It's fine. You know, it's very tasteful. Maybe like something George Harrison would play, he says. And so, you know how much I love the Beatles, and I'm certainly not thinking that it is that. But when he said that, it got me to agree to, okay, yeah, we could use that. All right, if you're going to go ahead and compliment me like that, yeah, we could use it. So that's how that all came to be.
So if I go back to my original question and said, what is Rob Hussey? You're just going to hand me that CD and say, this is my journey. This is my life journey right here.
This is, because if I gave you the first album, it's kind of all the same stuff, you know? And so it'd be easy to say on that record, well, is it Pump It To Me?
Pump it to me. Anytime, any place, baby, just scream.
Or is it Bitches to Blame? It's
hey, pills on my brain, going down in flames, bitches to blame.
It's one of those two songs. This record, though, I really couldn't pick one because the whole thing kind of has to go together in order for it to make sense. So yeah, that is, if I ever was going to get around to answering the original question, it's probably
I wasn't gonna let you go on that.
This whole record is what Robert Hussey's all about. He's about Motley Crue, Kiss, Rat, Van Halen, but he's also about Metallica, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and Slayer, you know, because when I was in junior high school, I didn't discriminate, man. I walked in the store one day and bought a Rat album the same day I bought a Slayer album. You know, I did not care. Other kids at school were not that way, though. It was like either or. You know? The Thrashers didn't really like me because I sometimes would have eyeliner on at school, or I'd have my hair. My hair was black back then, and it was more like a Nikki Sixx spike do. And so I'd get called a poser a lot, you know. I remember the first day of 10th grade, I walked past this dude in the hall. He looked a lot like Dave Mustaine, and I didn't know him. He walks past me and he goes, "You poser." And I turn around and I'm like, dude. And he freaked out. He was like, you know the song, Don't Call Me Dude?
Yeah.
Dude, don't call me dude. Well, he meant it. He he was livid. He was like, "Don't you ever call me dude." And he starts coming at me, dude. And we end up getting in a fight. I end up kicking this kid's ass in front of like the whole entire school. The rest of 10th grade was so enjoyable after that. Like it happened like the first day or maybe the first week of school. And then after that, there was no more problems. So I guess I should thank that kid. And then I never saw him again. He never came back to school after that. I do not think that he was able to come to terms with the fact that the kid at the Nikki Sixx hair and the eyeliner beat him up.
Wonder what he's up to now. Brad,
I know. I'd like to, I hope he's not still mad at me.
So Rob, I want to transition a little bit. Before I do, though, I do have, because I have a couple of questions to end tonight, but I want to go back to your album. I want to talk about two of the things I want to talk about are all the musicians that you have on there, and you talked a little bit about that. But Oz Fox, you had Oz Fox on there, some other guys, and then the last thing I want to know about this album before we transition is the Get Up and Dance video you got coming out in May. So can you talk a little bit about how do you get together with a guy like Oz Fox and some of these, and you got a video out with Brett Muscat too. We all met his brother in Junkyard, but big Faster Pussycat fans. And for you to get on stage and sing of those with that guy, like, how do you get with all these musicians?
For starters, they live here. So I was in this band called Out of the Black. It was just a cover band back in I want to say 2012. I was the new guy in that band. They already existed. And I got invited to sing for the band. And so I showed up to rehearsal and we're playing Soldiers Under Command by Stryper, right? And I'm so excited because what a cool band that would cover this song, And then suddenly Oz Fox walks into the rehearsal. That's Oz Fox. This is the first time something like that's ever happened to me. So I was having a hard time not freaking out about it. But it turns out he was just there to jam with the band because he was going to get up on stage with us. I didn't know this. And so that's how I met Oz. And then over the years, just, running into him at Counts Vamped repeatedly. He was in the audience, actually, the night we did that show where I sang Soldiers Under Command. And when I did the high scream at the end, jumped out of his seat and and I was so excited because
nice.
There was a time in 1986 when I went to see Stryper and I'm wandering around the venue after the show. Me and my friend Danny Goldstein, our only wish is somehow can we meet Stryper, and we're praying. We're like, please God, let us meet Stryper and we will be better kids. We promise. And I pushed this door open and there's Stryper just standing there. I pushed the door open to their dressing room or whatever. I don't even know how we were allowed back there. They signed our Stryper Bibles and I got an Oz Fox guitar pick. And so, that was huge for me at that age. But I mean,
did you hold up your end of the bargain with that
did
prayer?
For a whole month at school. I was trying to convert all my stoner friends to becoming born again Christians, Nobody was wanting to hear it, but I was very persistent. And so I did try to spread the Lord's word for quite some time after that. And and that's how I came to know Oz because of the band Out of the Black. And so I actually just sent him a message on Facebook. Oz, I'm making this record. I've got 2 really heavy songs. I know you're huge into Sabbath. I thought maybe you might be the guy to do these 2 solos. And he just said yes. Wow. And he did it. He did it at his place, sent it over, and we dropped it in there. And thankfully, those solos didn't get messed up in the transfer of the sessions. That would have really bummed me out if we would have had to replace those. And
we'll put the Bible verse on there: "Ask and thy shall receive." Right?
I mean, we literally were just please let us meet Stryper, and then there they were. So
so tell us about this video coming up in May. When's it going to be released, and what's going on with the video?
May 15th will be Get Up and Dance video world premiere on the official Cyanide Vivo YouTube channel. Cyanide LV is our YouTube. The single will come out the same day, so it'll be Thursday night at 9 p.m. You should be able to watch the video and listen to. I mean, the single's obviously already out because it's on the record, but the official single release is May 15th with the video. Adrian Leon once again directed this video, Adrian is a fantastic movie director. He has movies out on Amazon and stuff. You know, he's done a lot of stuff. He's worked with Duran Duran and some other big names. I just happen to know him from like 20 years ago when he was just starting out as a music video guy. He made a video for my old band, and it was the first music video he had ever made. So I think maybe I hold a fond spot in his heart because of that, and the same for me to him. And so when I needed a director, I suddenly became aware that I ran across him on Facebook because he was friends with Corey Coker. It's such a small world, right? Corey has been booking my bands at Vamped for years, and now suddenly she knows Adrian, and now because she knew Adrian, I got back in touch with him, and so now he did the Slip and Slide video. If you want some action, and it's already out. You can see it now on our YouTube channel. And then Get Up and Dance, he just sent me the finished final cut yesterday, which I've uploaded. It's doing all whatever thing happens with that after you send it off into the world, and it will be available for human consumption on May 15th.
I'm going to mark that on the calendar. I want to transition to how I actually virtually met you, I guess, so to speak. And it was, we came across your video for the tryout for Skid Row, and talked about it a little bit in the opening, but what made you want to try out for Skid Row and being vulnerable and put yourself out there, not only for Skid Row, but for the whole world to see? And what was the actual process like?
When I was 20, what was I? I think I was 20 when Slave to the Grind came out. And that's when I was still a drummer, but fancied myself a singer, you know. And I would go to our rehearsal studio all the time and just sing for hours, you know, through the PA, sing along to my favorite albums. Slave to the Grind was one of those albums. And I used to be able to sing that whole album all the way through from start to finish, all the screams, everything with no backing vocal help. You know, I could not do that today, I don't think. That is a tall order, man. Those are some vocals on that record. But ever since then, Sebastian was always, you know, one of my favorite voices ever in metal. You know, I firmly feel like his voice is up there with Halford and Dickinson and all my favorites. And his vocal performance on the Slave to the Grind album still, you know, an argument could be made that is the single greatest heavy metal vocal performance on a metal record. You know, of course, everyone would argue about this for days because there's so many albums. But ever since then, you know, Skid Row was one of my favorite bands. And when they broke up, you know, I still was a Skid Row fan. I still was a Sebastian fan. I've always been like that, you know, same with Motley when Vince left, you know, I was on both their sides. And so, gosh, I've met Sebastian a bunch of times lately here in Vegas because he's around Counts Vamped a lot when it was open, and he's good friends with Danny Coker, who's a good friend of mine. And so, you know, I saw his concert last summer when he put his new record out. You know, God, he's still getting it done, you know, he's still just. And so anyway, when that last Skid Row album came out, The Gang's All Here. Great album, right? Mm-hmm. When I first heard it, I was like, holy shit, they've conjured the spirit of the old Skid Row, you know? And Eric Gronwall, the singer on that record, oh my God, the voice on that guy, you know? Anyway, when he left and, you know, they started talking about Skid Row needing a singer, you know, of course, you know, in my head, I'm like, God, wouldn't that be something? I opened for Skid Row back in 2015 when Johnny Solinger was their singer. And that was a hugely fun experience. And so I always dream big, you know, and so I was dreaming like I might be able to somehow try out for this band, but it wasn't until the Sweetwater thing happened. And, you know, now it's real. Now I can try out if I want to. Well, now I'm scared, you know, like you said, putting myself out there, trying to sing Sebastian Bach stuff is, you know, it was intimidating, you know, a little bit. Am I really going to do this? And I let several weeks go by while I'm watching everyone else's videos, you know, and God, there's so many good ones. And so that's also got me thinking like, gosh, I don't know, man. But then, like you said, a lot of those videos were the same. And to me, they didn't really capture the spirit of Skid Row. And so the more I thought about it, I was like, I have to submit a video. Like, I doubt they're going to call me, but if I don't at least submit a video, they're definitely not going to call me, you know? And so, you know, in my head, I'm just thinking, well, I want the video to be 100% real me, you know, like, so that's why I stood in here and did my voice intro. What's always drawn me to Skid Row is that balance there's attitude, but there's also control. Everyone's video was them in a recording studio or their podcast studio or whatever it was, you know, headphones on, and they're singing along to their track. And I was like, if Skid Row even sees this, I want them to see what they're going to get live. It's about respecting the song, delivering them the way the fans expect, showing up prepared, taking care of my voice, being someone the band can trust on and off stage. And so I recorded the vocals here at home, but I resisted the temptation to layer them and make them something that they're not. You know, I made sure that it's just one vocal take. This is what you're going to get if you happen to choose me. I understand what it takes to step into something that already means a lot to people and do it right. I'm here because I love this music. I respect what you've built, and I know I can contribute to it in a real lasting way. Like here, you can see me live. You can hear what it would sound like live. I did sing along to it in that room though, because I didn't think that I would be able to get the kind of sound quality that I wanted. And I am not much of a video editor. So I was like, I don't really know how I will drop that audio track over the video. So I just recorded the vocals with their music here at the studio, and then I went down there to Count's Desert Moon Studios, and I, you know, the Cyanide stuff was already set up, and I thought, well, because we had just filmed the Get Up and Dance video there, and I thought, well, I'm gonna roll with that, man. It's gonna be 100%. This is who I am, and if you like it, you know, give me a call, man, because I would be the guy that wouldn't let you down. And so that's really how the whole thing came about. You know, I went back and forth, you know, of whether I was actually going to do it.
It feels to me you conjured up some Al Davis and take what you want.
I had a dream.
I always think about it, you know, whenever anything gets tough in life, I always think about Al Davis and that whole philosophy, you know, and it has served me well in a lot of really crazy situations.
Pride and poise, a commitment to excellence, everything he talked about, he lived about it, he brought.
So I got to ask, have you heard from Skid Row? How have you handled the feedback?
We want to dominate the environment.
From what I saw online, you handled it with class. I mean, there was some good stuff, but there was some not so good stuff. But every one of those you responded to, and I was impressed with that, and that made me want to reach out to you because it was handled with class. I wouldn't be so nice, probably.
You know, I thought about it. If I was even going to do this video, right? What if they did call me? You know, whoever they choose is going to face a shitstorm of haters and insults. And so I told myself right from the beginning, like, if you're going to do this, you can't possibly get upset at the people out there that suffer from social media disease. They're going to do what they do, you know, and their job is basically to scour the internet daily and go screw with people, you know, and see if they can wreck your day. And so I told myself from the very beginning, I'm not going there, man. I'm gonna take it all.
Just win.
And I'm gonna appreciate the fact that anyone would even watch it, because I didn't think when I put the video out that it's gonna get that many views in such a short amount of time. And I got to admit, I was expecting more negative comments. It was a few days before I saw a bad one. And of course, when I first saw it, you know, it stung a little bit. I'm like, ouch, dang, another hamburger. He didn't even ask me if I wanted fries with that. You know, and then I just thought, well, that is the way. That's the only way to exist in this industry. If you're going to be out there, is like, people are going to say stuff like that. And you're going to just have to learn how to have fun with it, or else you're going to be a very miserable individual. And I really appreciate what you just said, you know, about how you appreciate it, because I did think to myself, that I want to be classy about this, and so you recognize that. And so,
Yeah, no problem. I mean, like I said, that's kind of what I said to the guys. I'm like, I want to talk to this guy because one, I've just been curious about the process, and I know that Skid Row has been getting a lot of slack, and then whoever they do choose, if they do stick with this process, it's not going to be easy for Skid Row or this person. But the fact that you responded to each one of those comments, I just like, well, I got to talk to this guy, and I'm glad I did because one, I get to see what Cyanide's all about too. I not only get to meet you, but get to hear your music. So not that you made that, not that you made that for us, but it's just a byproduct of putting yourself out there and being vulnerable like that. And hopefully this can reach more people as well, so they can see what you're about.
in a way, maybe I did without even knowing it. Maybe I did make it for you guys and everyone out there, because I'll admit, as I was doing it, I wasn't thinking to myself, yeah, I'm going to be the next singer of Skid Row. I was just thinking I'm going to have fun with this. And, if anything, maybe some people that haven't ever heard of me might like what I do. And so, gosh, I feel like I already won just because we're having this conversation.
Just win.
We do really appreciate it.
I'm just so thankful that you took the time to talk with us. Being in 3 different tribute bands, having your own band, and like you said earlier, you also have a full-time job. I'm guessing you probably, 2-3 hours a night is what you get for sleep, because you're a really busy guy playing all the instruments for the album. I mean, that's hats off to you for taking the time to talk to us. That was great.
Wow. You guys are making my whole year. Thank you. Good stuff.
It was great meeting you, and so glad you gave us this time. Coming into us, didn't know what to expect this interview. Now, hopefully you get a lot more fans. Now, hopefully your personality's shown through this.
I didn't care as much about being respected as I cared about being feared.
Just appreciate your time.
I appreciate you guys, man. And anytime that you guys want to do this again, as far as I'm concerned, the day that I decided I wanted to play music, that means that this is what I do, and if somebody wants to talk to me, I'm going to talk to them, so I appreciate what you guys do.
We got to get down to Vegas at some point too. I would love to meet you in person and see your band. I don't know how often you travel outside of Vegas, but your personality shining through and your stories. And like, this to me is what rock and roll was all about. And you're living the dream that I had when I was 15, seeing Dr. Feelgood tour. And I hear, yeah. And I hear you, the stuff you were talking about, that was me as a 15-year-old. So the fact that I get that you have another job and all that, but you're still doing what you love and playing music. And to me, that's rock and roll. So,
and we love rock and roll, don't we?
We do.
Gosh, I fully recognize and respect the fact that rock and roll is why I'm probably still here, like everyone's life gets tough, and man, those songs and those records and those bands got us through some tough times when we were growing up, and then I'll just never forget that. So I built this website with the idea that, no matter how many different things I end up doing, I can have it all in one place for everybody, So with that in mind, I built this website, CyanideRocks.com. It has a separate page for each of the 3 tribute bands, and Cyanide's the main, the landing page is Cyanide. And so if you land on the website, all our videos are there, right there on the, the main menu right there is all of our links, every streaming link, every social link for all the bands is all right there in one spot on the homepage of CyanideRocks.com. And then of course you can go to each individual band's page and so all the Cyanide videos are there. And if you wanted to go follow us on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever streaming site that you prefer, you can just click on it right from there. If you wanted to buy the CD, with that link is all over the website. There's a little icon link, and then at the bottom of every page, it literally says to purchase the CD, go to Kivil Records, and there's the clickable link. And so yeah, it's basically a giant EPK for all 4 bands. CyanideRocks.com.
Well, Rob, I don't want to take too much more of your time.
God, I could do this all night.
I know.
Man.
I feel like I could do this all night too. But we do appreciate the time that you've given us. just nice getting to know you, and I definitely hope we can do this again down the road.
Absolutely, anytime. And if you guys find yourself planning a trip to Vegas, let me know ahead of time, and I'll try to make sure we're basically doing a once a month thing here at the Tuscany, Red Hot, Play Dirty, Flight 666, and then it starts all over, and then Cyanide is the opening act. So if you're ever coming out here, I could let you know what the show dates are, and if you're able to, you could come out here and catch a show. My goal is to just have a residency where people know if they're coming to Vegas, they could catch a Poison show, a Motley Crue show, an Iron Maiden show, or a Cyanide show. And at some point, I'm going to add some other stuff to it. I'm lucky that I have like the same nucleus of musicians to do all. It would be really hard if it was different band members for every one of them.
Sure.
And so I was asked because we got offered a really cool show next March here in Vegas, a pretty big one. And they wanted Motley Crue and Iron Maiden, and they, for whatever reason, they weren't really down with the Poison, but they're like, can you do an Ozzy? I'm like, well, yeah, actually, as long as the singer has blonde hair, I don't have to wear a wig. I'm good with it. Not that I wouldn't, but if I don't have to, I'd rather not. And so, we're that night next March, I think it's March 13th, is going to be a big show at a pretty big place. And it's going to be Motley Crue and then Ozzy and then Iron Maiden. Yeah.
So when Skid Row does call you back and you're on Skid Row, you're not going to forget about us little people, right?
I would never. I mean, it doesn't matter whatever happens to me. Maybe in my earlier 20s or something, if something like that would have happened, I might have let myself get a big head about it. But, I know exactly what the score is, the entire music business at this point. And so, I'm just going to appreciate whatever comes along. And so, yeah, if that did happen, I won't change.
Nice.
I'm going to always be the same dude that plays his Kiss records and gets excited when, Iron Maiden says they've got a movie coming out that you could go to the theater and watch. These are the things that keep me going. So, yeah, that's just always going to be me.
Well, everybody in the world, this is Rob Hussey. Cyanide, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it, your time.
I appreciate you guys. And like I said, anytime.
Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Thanks.
Never stop rocking.
Never stop. We gotta keep it alive.
I know you're taking. You just had a practice today too, so you're taking the time to come chat with us is awesome.
And we went out last night. We went to see Love Drive, the Scorpions tribute they're from California and they come through every now and again. There was talk about that I would go get up and sing a song with them last night, but it looked like we were not going to do that. And so because of that, I think I mentioned if I'm singing, I'm not drinking until after, but I didn't think I was singing. So I was drinking freely. And then all of a sudden they're like, let's get Robert Hussey up here. And of course it's No One Like You, one of the hardest Scorpion songs to sing. And I thought we were singing it together, but no, he wanted and so I'm going to be honest. It wasn't my best performance.
Oh no, we suck again.
But that's rock and roll. And so because of that, we were out late. And so I was literally the living example of I went to bed too late and got up too soon this morning.
I went to bed too late and got up too soon.
All right,
I love
Rob.
doing these video interviews, and I love what you guys. I love your room right there with your swag too. That's cool.
Well, of course, your favorite one is the album, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
Hard
Rob.
rock knockers.
We are going to play a game called Know Thy Rocker.
Know thy rocker!
So I am going to test the boys and see if they can identify the stage name, and I will give you the birth names. Let's see how well you know your rockers. So I got 23 rockers, and then I got 3 bonus rounds. Round number 1, Jackie Lou Williams.
I'm going to say Jakey Lee.
I'll give you guys both.
That would have been my guess. I wasn't talking.
Yeah.
I didn't know if we were supposed to just yell it out.
Okay. Stanley Burt Eisen.
Is that Paul Stanley?
Mike, what's your guess?
Well, that's the only Stanley I know, but is it a trick question? I don't have a guess. I'm sorry. I'll say Brad's right.
It is Paul Stanley.
Nice.
Round 3, Bruce Anthony Johannesson is also known as.
Is that Bruce Dickinson?
That would have been my guess.
Mike?
Yeah, that would have been my guess.
And who is it?
Oh.
CC Deville. Okay. Round number 4. Keim Witz.
Oh.
Kind of rolls off your tongue, don't it?
I feel like that's the Scorpions guy. Klaus.
Klaus Meine.
Yeah.
Klaus Meine. Brad?
That's a good guess. Yeah, I'll go with Klaus.
And Keim Witz is Gene Simmons.
Oh,
Whoa.
I think I heard, because I heard him talk about the story about his mom coming in from on Ellis Island.
All I need you to do is to swear allegiance and raise your hand. My mother didn't know what the guy meant, so she did the only thing that she saw. He put his right hand above her left hand, pushed it down, and later my mother told me, he told her, you'll never have to do that ever again.
Good one.
Yeah, so he changed his name. He named it after, I guess there was a guy in the 50s called Jumpin' Gene Simmons. I don't know if he was like a Buddy Holly type guy or whatever, but that's where he got it from. So, all right. So we got Brad in the lead of 2-1. Round number 5. Paul Charles Caravello is also known as.
An Italian guy.
Drawing blank.
Nicky Six, I'm going to guess. No idea.
Brad, wild guess.
How about the original guitar player for Quiet Riot? Not Randy Rhoads, but the first record came out. Carlos Cavazo.
And Paul Charles Caravello is also known as Eric Carr.
Wow.
He shortened it from Caravello to just Carr.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So round 6. Here's a softball.
D. Snyder. I'm going to go with. You're going to give me a softball.
Or is it a trick question?
Or is it a trick question?
Brad?
Yeah, D. Snyder's a pretty good guess.
You are correct. Okay, round 7. Jeff Phillip Weiland is also known as.
Scott Weiland?
Scott Weiland, yeah.
And the answer is Zach Wild.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he took the Jeff Weiland and he shortened it to Wild.
You know, viewers out there are going to be very disappointed in us.
Oh, yeah. Terrible at this.
No
This
different than
one's
us trying to stumble over lyrics that are super obvious. So, okay. Round number 8, Saul Hudson.
This is Slash.
Oh, okay.
Mike?
Well, I mean, Brad was confident on that, so
I'm pretty confident.
You're
I'm
gonna
going
piggyback off
yeah, I'm gonna. If you're allowing me to coattail, I'm gonna coattail.
Saul Hudson is Slash. Good job.
I almost went with some kind of Paul because biblically Paul was Saul first. So
okay, round number 9, Vincent John Cusano.
Vinnie Vincent. No, that's got to be Vinnie Vincent.
Brad?
Don't piggyback. I'm just saying, don't piggyback on me. I haven't been right first yet.
Okay, Vincent Cusano is.
Oh yeah. I guess you can
Vincent.
I guess you can piggyback.
Yeah. So okay. Round 10. Vincent Wharton.
Oh, another Vincent. Can't be the same.
It's not Vince Neil, right?
Oh.
Who knows?
Well, I don't necessarily want to piggyback off of Brad because I feel like a cheat, but I will piggyback off of Brad. I'll say Vince Neil.
Okay.
I didn't. Yeah,
It
there we
is.
go. There we
I
go.
left out his middle name, Vince Neil Wharton.
When I
His
did
full
Vinny
name.
when I did Vinnie Vincent, I figured, oh, I don't know any other Vinnies or Vincents.
Yeah.
But I do. This one's I would know more.
Okay, so after 10 rounds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we got Brad in the lead, 6-5.
5 of them are coattailing.
Okay. Number 11, John Segal.
I'm gonna say John
AKA.
Sykes.
That's a good guess. I'll coattail you.
Okay.
Going John. John Segal's real stage name is J.J. French. And out of all this list, I knew most of these. He was the only one I had to look up and refresh my memory. It's just one of those weird things that useless trivia that always sticks in the back of my head.
Nice.
Okay, round 12. Robert Allen Deal also goes by the name
Is that Bobby Dahl from Poison?
Mikey.
Piggyback. I know I'm not being original, but when you said that, I'm like, okay, that looks like it could be right.
Robert Allen Deal is more famously known as Mick Mars.
Oh.
Okay. Round 13. Robert Harry Kuyendal.
That's Bobby Dahl. Because there's a doll and there's a Robert.
There is. That's what I thought the first time.
Is that what you're going by with, Brad?
You got a different.
I shouldn't guess Bobby Dahl twice, but I'll probably regret it. So I'll say Nikki Six.
Robert Kuyendal is
There
Bobby
you go.
Dahl.
Well,
Okay, 14. Thomas Bass.
Tommy Lee.
Yeah, it's got to be Tommy Lee. I would hope. Well, I don't know.
Thomas Bass, professionally known as Tommy Lee. Good job, Mike.
I'm just doing reasoning and then getting the ones wrong that have no reason, like Mick Mars.
Okay, round 15. Richard Allen Ream, more famously known as
Rick Allen, Def Leppard.
Yeah, Rick Allen.
Okay, let's see if you're right.
Oh.
Okay, number 16. Frank Ferrano.
Frank Zappa.
Good guess. Maybe not.
Probably not. Not in our genre.
No.
Brad.
This isn't Bret Michaels, is it?
We shall find out. Frank Ferrano is professionally known as Nikki Sixx.
That's who Nikki Sixx is.
And that's where the song on Too Fast for Love. Frankie died just the other night. Some say it was suicide. Okay.
Oh, hey, we get a song out of you.
Yeah, almost. Richard Alfonso Martinez is also known as. And I'll give you a clue. We've already talked about him tonight. That's your one.
I was going to go with the rat guy, but you said that. I don't think we talked about him.
It's not Bruce Dickinson.
We shall find out. Mike?
I'm not going to piggyback on him. I probably should, though, huh? Yeah, let me piggyback on him.
Okay. This is Richard Alfonso Martinez, Bruce Dickinson. Oh, he's Oz Fox.
I was just like,
And
who did we talk about tonight?
So he got the name Oz in high school. He could do a spot on Ozzy impersonation. So all his buddies just started calling him Oz. So he just adopted that as stage name. All right, number 18.
Okay, before I go to 18, Rob, I apologize. I should have known that. You're probably banging your head against your table right now.
Yeah. How many times we talk about Oz Fox? Okay, 18. John Kennedy Oswald.
Okay, so this guy has a John Kennedy name and his last name is Oswald. Like,
there's a probably good reason why he changed it then.
I think that's a great stage name. Just leave it the way it is.
Right. Or a band name like Randy was talking about. Is that Ozzy Osbourne?
We shall find out.
I
Brad,
don't think so. I'll
wild guess.
I'll just go Tony Iommi since
Okay. Who is John Kennedy Oswald more famously known as? Janie Lane.
Wow.
Now you know. 19. Ronald James Padavana. Or
Ronnie
Padavana.
James Dio.
Yeah.
Final answer.
Ronnie James Dio.
Is Mike right? Yes.
I feel like that was a softball, but
See, and I got to look up the story. So apparently he took the name Dio. It was from a Miami mobster. And at some point he started claiming that he was related to him. And the mobster guy, I think his name was Donnie Dio or something. And he got wind of it and sent some people to talk to Ronnie. And, this isn't cool. You're not part of the family.
They didn't
Okay.
take him up on a roof and
Yeah.
say it's a long way down.
Yeah.
Your name is what?
Okay, number 20. Brett Michael Sychek.
well, that's got to be Brett Michaels.
I would think that's Bret Michaels.
Or is this a trick question?
Yes. See, I could have done like the Vince Neil thing and left his middle name out. See if you knew who Brett Sychek was.
We got to get some right, otherwise the viewers are like, these guys
There's a
don't
couple
know anything.
softballs. Okay, round 21. Here's another softball for you.
Sebastian Bach.
Yeah.
Sebastian Philip Björk.
Yeah. I remember that from when he went to court for throwing the bottle into the audience.
Oh yeah.
Name on the court proceedings.
Okay, round 22. Stephen Edward Duran.
Stephen Adler.
Yeah, I would say that's Stephen Adler.
So Stephen Adler. Becky.
Oh wow.
I
Okay,
said it with such confidence that Brad big-tailed on it.
Yeah.
Okay, last round of the Rockers. Round 23. Michael Balzery.
It's pretty close to Farouk Balsara, but that's Freddie Mercury, so that's not who that would be.
I'm going to go with Tom Kiefer.
Brad, you went with?
Yeah, I'll what's the score? This is the last one.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
you're tied 10 to 10. Then we got the three bonus rounds after this.
So if I guess the same one, we've got 3 bonus.
Yeah.
All right, Tom Kiefer then.
I don't know. The only reason I went with Tom Kiefer is because I'm trying to channel Doug's methodology.
Okay. Michael Balzery is also known as Flea.
Mm.
Okay. So now the 3 bonus questions.
You mean his parents didn't name him Flea? I thought that was...
No, I mean they named him after that because he was hyperactive and bouncing off the wall, so they gave him the name that. Okay, Dave Howell Evans.
I'm gonna go with David Lee Roth. Old guess.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that.
Dave Howell Evans is professionally known as. Okay, Gordon Sumner.
Oh, I used to know this.
Gordon Lightfoot.
It's a name that's nothing close to this.
No.
So not Gordon Lightfoot. Doug already said nope.
I'm gonna say like Steven Tyler.
Gordon Sumner, professionally known as Sting.
Oh.
Okay, so I see what he's doing with these bonus ones.
Yeah, he's there outside the world of metal. Okay,
Well,
final.
and then weird one-namer things.
Okay,
What?
final question. You guys are both tied 10 to 10 for all the marbles. Paul David Hewson also goes by the name of.
Well, I can't guess that.
George Michael.
What was it?
George Michael.
I feel like it's gonna be who else has a one name that's outside of the world of hold on, I know. My first guess was Axl Rose, but he said outside of the Pauly Shore. That's the only thing I can.
Pauly Shore.
No, Pauly Shore is a real shore.
Oh, okay.
Final guess.
Yeah.
Paul David Houston is professionally known as.
I almost said that.
No.
I almost said that, but I'm like, there's no way he's gonna do two U2s in a row. Huh. Did we tie then?
You guys tied. Good job.
Losers.
You are one pathetic loser.
Know thy rocker.
Well, how did you do? Did you do better than us?
To get 10 right when I was only confident on one. Amazing.
Yeah,
good job.
A couple of softballs helped us not look as bad as we probably really are. Up next, we have our fan shout out of the week. This week, it's Washed Up Drummer from TikTok. He's the content creator, Gen Xer, former touring drummer, old school music lover, and a lifelong cheesehead. Wisconsinite. He's blue collar, sarcastic, a live stream host. You want to support him, you can Venmo him at Scotty Laub. Watch him play drums live on TikTok. Check him out on YouTube as well. He always has a lot of great things to say about Three Guys, and I enjoy watching. He works so hard. I don't know how much the washed up part of it is, but if you've ever seen his TikTok, you understand what I'm saying. He's got like 150 songs on a shuffle playlist, and he just works his ass off. So thank you for being a fan. Thank you for saying all these great things about Three Guys, Washed Up Drummer. Here's your shout out. Next up, we got Song Smash. Who did it better? This week, we've got a triple-headed snake. We've got Lillian Axe, Junkyard,
Misery loves company, but there's nothing I can do.
and Jackyl, all doing Misery Loves Company. Right off the bat, if you read these lyrics and not heard the song, you would think it's a country song. I'm going bald, money's gone, car broke down, I'm hungry, no respect. You got run over by a damn old train. Either a country song or a Rodney Dangerfield bit. It's actually actually a good rockin' tune, gritty. Cool guitar in the back, nice solo. But it kind of fades instead of like hitting hard. And then he kicks it to Stevie, which I guess is a thing back then, you know. Come on, CC. They didn't know that bands down the road would have different members, so I wonder how that kind of works now. I know Ugly Kid Joe also made fun of that. Come on, CC. Come on, CC. So many bands do that. And then Junkyard, bluesy right off the bat. Some groovy piano and guitar. The lyrics on this one are more dissing someone that is miserable.
But don't drag me down with you. Don't drag me down.
And they don't really want to be dragged down with them. There are a lot of people like that, and all they do is complain. So he likes her, but just not her problems, because he says they're not real.
It's just your problems, man, they just ain't real. Living in
Just absolutely love the piano over the top of all of that.
misery loves company. But what the hell am I supposed
Jackyl's got a tempo slower than the previous ones. Jesse James Dupree just hits that grit to his voice. The This one, he is pulling someone to share in his misery.
Across the board we share the loss.
He's tired of bleeding alone.
I can't afford to lose another drop. My soul's been stretched.
You can feel real hurt in this song.
My soul's been stretched and now it's thin.
Backing vocal at the end is pretty cool. Out of all three, which are pretty great in their own right, I have to give it to Junkyard. I know there's familiarity bias there, but the piano part just puts it over the top for me. I'm glad I was introduced to the two other ones because I like them both. And I have never heard either of the other two before.
Misery Loves Company, Lillian Axe. I never heard this one before, but I absolutely love this one. This, to me, has the power and the feel like a really early Rat. Like You Think You're Tough off the first record. And that grabbed me right away. Junkyard. First thing, listen to this. I'm like, did London Choir Boys come up instead of Junkyard? That it kind of had, to me, that feel. It was like a, Rolling, the Stones with the ragtime piano part in it. Yeah, great song. Just, all three of these songs are so different from each other. So that had the real funky part. Jackyl, a really slow, lazy feel to it. A really laid back song. Not my favorite out of Jackyl's, but it's a nice tempo breakup in their catalog. Won't you share what's inside of me? Even the guitar riffs during the solo kind of always kind of lag behind the beat. And it just added to the feel of it. But all of these three, my vote is the Lillian Axe for the power.
Yeah, I liked the Lillian Axe song as well. I thought it got a little repetitive. Toward the end, I really like them as a band. I know they have a lot of great songs. This one's pretty good, but they do have a lot of other stuff that I think is better. Yeah, the Junkyard one, probably some bias there, but really like this song. Ever since it came out, one of their really good songs off their 6s, 7s, and 9s album. And then, the Jackyl song, that one didn't connect with me as much. Jackyl's one of those bands that I kind of liken them a little bit to AC/DC. I don't really want to hear a ballad from Jackyl. I want to hear the lumberjack, and I want to hear loud guitar. That one I thought was, of the three, probably the weakest, and I thought Junkyard was the strongest. So
okay, so this week we've got Junkyard 2, Lillian Axe 1, and Jackyl 0. I'm glad I got to hear the other two. But they're all different. They're all very different type songs. But let us know which one is your favorite too, by the way, those watching this. Which one of these three bands do you think did a better Misery Loves Company? All right, up next we have our Fan 5 portion of Fishing for Flashbacks. You, the viewers, pick out 5 songs that we need to go fishing for. Up first, we've got Roxy Blue, Times Are Changin'. I could have sworn this was Bad for Each Other. I really thought
It did have that feel. After you brought it up, I'm like, I can see what he's talking
I
about.
was singing the lyrics to Bad for Each Other every time I heard this song. You can almost, when I wrote, you can almost sing that song to it. And I actually did after I, you know.
Bad for each other. I know times are changing.
Another band out of Memphis, and you can feel the influence a bit. Coming out in 1992, I think another victim of the grunge era, you know, getting a little late for traction. I do like the song. It's a ballad that fits perfect for the times, but the fact that I hear another song in it is probably not great for the brand reputation.
You cuddled up by my side. Yeah.
Ironically, the title suggests times are changing, which is a bit of an ouch.
Yeah, I like this song. Mid-tempo power ballad. Produced by Mike Klink, who also did Appetite for Destruction. And the singer for Roxy Blue, Todd Poole, after Roxy Blue's record label pulled the carpet out from underneath him, then he went on to form his next band, Saliva.
Oh, wow.
So more people probably know him, more familiar with the Saliva. And Roxy Blue did reform in 2017, and in 2019 put out a self-titled record on Frontier Records.
Yeah, I've always liked this song. I think the fact that it came out in 1992, it might have been a bigger hit if it came out in 1987 or 1988.
Times are changing.
It had a little bit of a Warrant feel in terms of this particular ballad. Good song, probably came along, like Coach said, at the wrong time.
This one was suggested by the viewer, so we appreciate the suggestions. Sometimes we like them, sometimes we don't. I like the song, but like Brad said, if it came out earlier, I think this would have been a huge smash. And I don't remember when Shark Island's Bad for Each Other came out, but I'm sure it was before this song. And I get it. I mean, you can go in the 50s and you can find a lot of songs that sound very similar. Same with this genre, but thank you for those that suggested it. Up next, we've got Grim Reaper, Lust for Freedom. Or a little Judas Priest feel to it in the intro. Lyrically sounds like he didn't want to be a part of the fight, but was forced to. Freedom was just too important. Seems like Second Amendment type song, maybe a revolutionary thing. The song feels like a bridge between those early 80s metal bands and the late 80s hair metal. Another solo that seemed to stop. I like the song anyway. I feel like there's more of the solo in the background of the song versus the actual solo. So I don't know, these last two songs, it just seemed like the solo didn't go where I thought it was going to go, or just kind of stop.
I have a soft spot for Grim Reaper. I love this whole record. I actually in high school did a music video for a English class project, and so we did kind of a take on The Breakfast Club, combined that with heavy metal, and did a video for Rock You to Hell off the same record. Nick Bocott is the guitar player. Steve Grimmett, who passed away a couple years ago, super power vocalist. I love his voice, very distinctive. For fans that like this music, Nick Bocott works for Sweetwater now. If you follow their YouTube channel, he's posting content all the time, playing guitar, going down memory lane, talking with other guitar players about 80s tunes. Unfortunately for this record, it was their third and last record. And Ebony Records actually shelved it for 2 years. And so by the time it came out, it was kind of a little late to the party, and they broke up not long after that. A great record. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, Grim Reaper, great band with a great sound.
Somebody's got to pay.
Really enjoyed this one. Captures that mid-80s type of hard rock feel. Wasn't familiar with the band before hearing this one, but I'll definitely be checking out more of their stuff.
Up next, we've got Gothard, Fist in Your Face.
Like a fist in your face.
Deep guitar sound, not grunge, but for 1996 song has more of the late 80s metal than most songs at that time. The distorted vocals at the chorus was unique. Another missed opportunity for a really cool solo, but the end of it was great. I know my wife wanted me to describe, like, type this out, like, how do I describe it? Womp, 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 womp. I know that's horrible, but I love that part. The solo and solos were kind of dead by 1996, so probably why. I think the lyrics have a deeper metaphor than you probably realize. He's got confidence to go out and face the world, but maybe he wasn't ready for the type of smack life is going to give you. But I feel like it's a good hard rockin' tune.
Yeah, no, another new band for me. So it looks like they're named after a Saint Gothard Mastiff dog. So I had to look up, I'm like, well, what the hell is a Gothard? It's a Swiss band. Apparently it looks like they've put out 16 records, and each record's been #1 in Switzerland, so they're very huge over there. I absolutely love this song. I love the attitude of it. They brought this one up.
Yeah, the whole European metal scene, which we haven't covered much at all, but in terms of if you like 80s hair metal, there's a lot to be offered there from that group, and this is probably one of the earlier ones. Stradivarius is another one that kind of came out around that time and has a really good distinctive sound. I'm sure we'll be talking about a lot more European metal bands going forward, but I hadn't heard this one before. I really like this song, and thanks for bringing it up.
Next, we've got Hardline, Life's a Bitch.
Life's a bitch.
Dang, 2 episodes in a row where we get a song with some questionable parenting. This guy has no great role models in his life.
Here comes daddy with a strap again, crawling my backside with the buckle left.
So he's dreaming of the wild side. He doesn't know anything else about life other than it's a bitch, and I actually feel sorry for him. Some pretty cool guitar in this one. Another 1992 song. If this came out a couple of years earlier, I think it would have been a lot more successful. The guitar rips right through you, more than you would think from a Neil Schon kind of project. That was interesting for me.
Yeah, great song. Neil Schon, he's so versatile. I mean, he can go from, power pop, journey type songs and then do, harder stuff like this. It just, is the reason why he's so respected. Part of the really catchy, the great chant in the song, the, say, yeah, 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 yeah.
And say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Life's a bitch.
That, I thought that was real catchy. Part of it, and I'm like, God, is that already covered? Does that sound something like Pretty Reckless would do? Or yeah, it's too bad it was off the only record they did. Hot Cherry being the other notable song from the record. And then after they lost their record deal, and Neil Schon went back to Journey.
I like this song, like the band, like the album when it came out. Neil Schon, I think, fresh off the second Bad English album that didn't go anywhere. So it's him and is it Dean Castronova, also
yeah,
on the bone in this band that also plays with Journey. But yeah, it's more of a hard. It doesn't compare to Journey. It has a harder edge to it. So this is one of those projects that those guitar gods want to get involved with and make something out of it, and didn't have staying power, but that's also part of the that era wasn't popular enough to get the record company's attention. So one album and done.
Which is too bad. I mean, because the Hot Cherry, I mean, that got up there. So, there's a lot of bands that, keep their record deals alive with just one hit and, see what you can do on the next record. It's too bad.
Yeah, 1992. That's a tough sell for the record companies, even if that one, not that I know. I mean, that's the one that I first called you about. And I told Carol that Doug's going to know everything about this band. I've never heard it before. So if the mainstream didn't get enough of it and it's 1992, I doubt it's going to stay in that era for sure. Up next, we've got Kim Mitchell, Go for Soda. To me, it sounds like a Boston or a 38 Special type of song, more of a classic rock. I'm sure I heard this before, but I'm not 100% sure. Decent music and guitar. Lyrics are head scratchers until you see him explain about it.
Might as well go for soda. Nobody hurts, nobody cries, nobody drowns, nobody. I said, wow, that's amazing. This is like great. Let's write something. He goes, oh, I can do a million of these, and he just kept writing them and writing them.
That he's really like a love child. Doesn't want anyone fighting.
All this debating going around makes me thirsty for love. It's just about we're fighting. It's just let's forget it and get back into love.
Let's just have a drink and work it out instead of fighting. Could use a little bit more of that in 2026 for sure.
Might as well go. So you're in one of your blue moods. You want to have it your way, and I want it mine.
A bit repetitive, but the reason is he talked about it, the guy writing all these things down in this video. We can go instead of gossip, instead of slander, instead of dying, and instead of drowning. Like, he was just writing all this stuff down.
Yeah, I can do a million of these.
It's catchy. In this video, he talked about the breakdown where it's like boom.
This was an 80s thing. Shot through the heart in your to blame, right?
Boom, boom, boom. And he talked about a lot of bands doing that. And
there's so many songs that do that. They do the breakdowns like.
The one thing that stood out to me was the drumming in this song. I thought it was really good drumming.
New one for me. And where you were going with like 38 Special in Boston, when I was listening to this, I'm like, God, is this Little River Band? Who is this? Because while listening, I mean, it was a real catchy guitar riff. I love that part of it. But the whole way through it, I kept in the back of my mind, I'm kind of humming, have you heard about the lonesome loser? Have you heard about the lonesome loser? That's the vibe I got from this. So, being out from 84, kind of sounds dated a little bit, and then I was completely confused by the lyrics. I'm like, oh, until you sent me that video, I'm like, okay, I must be super dense because I have no idea what the hell Go for Soda mean and what this makes no sense to me at all.
But a fun tune.
And I guess Mothers Against Drunk Driving used it as their like signature song, to go, against drunk driving.
The whole Mothers Against Drunk Driving. People still refer to this song about drinking and driving, and Mad picked it up in the States. It was their theme song for a little while. You have a record company saying, yeah, just roll with it. It's really not about that. It's about two people in a conflict.
If they're playing that out there, we're getting more exposure and that kind of stuff. So, hey, let's go sit down and talk over a pop, instead of fighting over what we need to fight over.
I had never heard this song before. This was a new one for me, and I agree with Doug. I might have missed the boat not seeing the video. I might have to check that out and figure out a little bit more what they're trying to say. But yeah, I thought it was just okay. It didn't wow me. It wasn't like, oh, I really need to go listen to this again.
Yeah, it was probably the guitar player in me that kind of jived with it. Dun, 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 dun. It was real catchy, real hooky.
But again, thank you for suggesting that, and keep these suggestions coming, because this is really exposing not only you guys to new music but us. I mean, a lot of these I've never heard of before, and if Doug and Brad haven't heard it before, then you're, like I said, you're exposing us to a lot of new music, which is great, because it's almost like we talked about in other episodes that we're talking about trying to find new music to listen to, and there's old music that's new. That there's so much out there. It's kind of getting hard for us to choose because there's so much out there that we haven't even talked about a lot of the stuff that we really like that we're fishing for, that's out there that needs a little life pumped into it.
I'm gonna steal these two guys.
Now, speaking of fishing for flashbacks, in our next segment, fishing for flashbacks, each of us picked one song this week that maybe deserved a little bit more attention, a little life pumped back into it for another listen. First up, we've got Electric Angels, Rattlesnake Kisses. This song really gives me roller rink vibes. It feels like a sweet song. Or Joan Jett, Do You Want to Touch? And all of those could be played at the roller rink, back in the day. It's got very sleaze, glam rock lyrics. A fun song. I don't know if you've seen the video, but if you're a big Christina Applegate fan, especially back then, she's in the video. Funny thing about this song is, like, the lyrics talk about black widows, scorpions, and snakes, all fatal and venomous and kind of silly. And she's metaphorically dangerous, a song that would really be fun to hear live, I think.
So this was a new one for me. To me, I thought it sounded like an Ace Frehley song. Like something off his solo Kiss record back in the New York Groove. I'm back in the New York Groove. So Electric Angels came from ex-members of Candy. Gilby Clarke was part of. So Gilby Clarke left Candy to form Kill for Thrills, and the other members kept going as Electric Angels. And they were managed by Bruce Kulick. And one of the songs that they were demoing for this record was a song they called Let's Put the EX in Sex. And through Bruce Kulick, Gene Simmons heard it, and next thing you know, it comes out on their is the bonus track on their What Smashes Thrashes. And then they're all like, sweet, we're gonna get royalty. They used their song, and then Gene's like, hate to break it to you guys, you can't copyright a song title. So I'm like, well, I guess we can't use that song now.
Oh, yeah, because people probably think that they copied it, if they play that song.
Yeah, way to copy a Kiss song.
Yeah, I like this one a lot too. This one was a fun song. I had heard this one before. They've got some other pretty good songs too.
Up next, we got Soraya, Love Has Taken Its Toll.
Yeah, this one, I always liked this band. I always liked their sound. I really like her voice. I think that they rock out in a way where I would put their stuff up next to Lita Ford or Daryl Pesh. I wish they had gotten a little bit bigger and had a bigger catalog. It was really just this one or two albums that they were able to do, and about it.
A cowboy western feel to the intro. She looks to me like Tiffany, but sings like Lita Ford. So it's funny you mentioned Lita Ford. I love the guitar in this. It complements the song. Song's very catchy. Similar to Tora Tora and a Tesla type song to me. A lot going on here lyrically. Longing, missing, heartbreak.
I wanna taste the good life, but I'm missing you too.
Love like the edge of a knife, but she would still take the chance.
They say that love is like the edge of a knife.
This song has a lot of parts to it and a lot of time changes and this and that. So I'm not really sure how Doug feels with some of the changes, including the long outro. That what got me thinking about from our last episode. So
sometimes time changes kind of throw me off. Like System of a Down, like Toxicity. I'm like the one person in the world that doesn't like that song. It was
really
too all over the place. It was like 8 songs kind of squished together to make one long song, and
No! Somewhere between the sacred silence and sleep.
yeah, I always kind of roll my eyes when that one comes on. They're all over the place. It's like, or my thing, every band member is like, hey, what do you got? Oh, I got this. Okay, well, here, I'll throw my riff I was working.
Doug, what do you feel about this song having so many different parts to it?
No, I love everything about this song. Sandy Surya, the singer, she was married to Brian Wheat, bass player from Tesla. And he talks about it in his autobiography where he really tried to convince her to be like a pop sound. And she's like, no, no, this is how I want to sound. I want to be a rocker. This is what I feel, make it or break it on this, stay at this. So to me, she sounds like a cross if you take Joan Jett and Pat Benatar and roll it into one. That's the vibes I get. And super catchy acoustic intro. Great song. It ended up making it to number 64 in the Billboard 100. So kind of got a little there. It's too bad, record label gave them another chance to see if they could improve on that. But she was married to Tesla bassist Brian Wheat.
Really?
Yeah. And he talks about it in his autobiography where if she would have listened to him, that she could have been bigger, but she was headfast in how she wanted to sound, and that's why the band didn't really go anywhere after
There's a chord in there that sounds a lot like a Van Halen song. I think it's off for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. There's an opportunity to play the chord from the Soraya song and then the chord from Van Halen and say, can you tell the difference?
I mean, it was what, 5 minutes long, but like it felt with all the different parts, and I didn't get sick of the different parts. I actually liked that sometimes in a unique song setup like that. I appreciate you bringing this up, Brad, because I want to check out more of their stuff for sure. Up next, we've got Wild Side. How Many Lies?
There were so many other songs on this record that I could have thrown in there. Hang On Lucy. But this one I love. Such an incredible singer. And another song that had a really great acoustic intro. Another one that my throat gets raspy because I sing it extra loud when I'm driving.
Let's hear what you're talking about.
How many times? No.
I'll work with that.
Yeah.
You can actually feel the betrayal just in the intro to this song.
In this little old town, you can get
Sounds like this girl has a reputation, which is, why is he surprised she did it to him? Guys think with the wrong head a lot of times.
Word on the streets, you've been cheating on me. You ain't.
I don't think she's gonna change based on what I've heard so far. So
Turn around and you do it again.
sometimes guys are a bit stupid, and catchy chorus. The voice sounds a little like Mark Slaughter.
How many days and how many ways?
Again, I feel like it's another one I haven't heard before, and I want to check out the rest of their catalog or their album. I couldn't find much on these guys when I tried to look them up.
Oh baby, how many men can you ride?
The one that I found on Apple Music. I had this one in my library already. It was called The Essential Wild Side. So I don't know what the original album name was, but there's a lot of other songs from them that are pretty good. Really good band. I actually thought the singer sounded a little bit like Tom Kiefer. If you like this song, check out some more of their stuff.
Yeah, I actually found the album. It's Under the Influence.
No, on Spotify, it's under Essential Wild Side also.
That wraps it up this week, Fishing for Flashback. Again, if you got songs you want us to check out, pop them in the comments and we'll do our best to go through them. I know there's a bunch that we still need to go through from a bunch of bands that you guys have been suggesting for us. So you'll probably see those in the next episode. I tell you what, you know, the more interaction I've had with anybody is Kyle Cook from Matchbox 20. He's got Trump derangement syndrome so bad. And and normally it's like I'd be like, that was, you know, it's kind of my favorite band, but like I don't like how they are politically. But this Kyle Cook, if you ever go on his Twitter, like he posts 4 or 5 things about Trump every day. And I said, dude, like you need to start talking about your music. Well, this is the, you know, I mean, like I have whole conversations with this guy. And you would think I'd be like, well, I'm having conversations with my favorite band. I'm like, but it's just annoying because it's just so much. And then when he actually posts stuff about music, there's other people that are like, hey, you're finally posting something about music. Your music. You're talking about your music. I'm like, yeah. Like,
yeah.
He's like, there's more, our society is going downhill. There's more important things than Matchbox 20. I'm like, okay, buddy.
Well, but then he's got to see the bigger picture. For a lot of people, their music is the escape.
Yeah, I tried to explain that to him too, but he just.
And then all you're doing is turning off potentially half your audience.
I told him that. I said the best quote I had like is from Michael Jordan that said Republicans buy shoes also. You know, when they went on him like, how come you're not making a stand or whatever? He's like, Republicans buy shoes also. Like, why would I alienate half of my potential market because of my political belief? But intern is.
You could almost have a whole segment on Journey spin-off bands. Between Bad English, Hardline,
the VOA, the
HSVA,
yeah,
80s. But there's a couple of new ones. The Dean Castanova band, or they call it Revolution Saints, maybe. Yeah, I think that was one that I sent you, Mike. That I'm like, listen to these guys. Some just like Journey.
So the Bees, that was actually Steve Riley.
It's called the Bees.
Yeah, that was actually Steve Riley's very first band before he joined LA Guns. And Wasp.
Glam band is getting up to, they can make 10 grand a gig. I mean, those guys don't even have jobs anymore.
Yeah, I mean, how many shows do they play and everybody still goes? Like they're still playing the same stuff, right?
Yeah, they're mixing it up a little bit. A couple of new songs here and there. You know, Damn Yankees, Van Hagar. Yeah, they're drawing a crowd, and they're, especially with Vic Ferrari retiring over here now.
Well, I just saw something that they're playing Paperfest, Vic Ferrari. I didn't realize they were still going.
They're not really going. They're playing here and there, you know, maybe times a year.
That's where Mark met Alice, was Vic Ferrari.
Yeah.
My brother Mark.
Yeah, when they play Oktoberfest, they've got the big stage down at the end of the street.
Nice.
So they're like the king of cover bands in the Fox Valley area now.
Is Oktoberfest still as big as it used to be?
Yeah. They probably fit about 50,000 people on that street over the course of the day.
I keep wanting to come back. So our downtown, Doug, in Appleton, Oktoberfest, but it's always September, so it's not even October. It's always like the last weekend in September, right?
That's when German Oktoberfest starts in September.
Oh.
Yeah.
But they basically close the whole downtown, and they have 4 or 5 band stages, at least they used to. Yeah. That's where I met... I don't know if you can see this. Human Radio. You guys that did Me and Elvis. So when I was downstairs, I was looking for my Company of Wolves. I must have taken that out and not put it back. I can't find my Company of Wolves signed cassette, but then I posted on Twitter the LA Guns one. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. But unfortunately, it says to Allison and Mike. So that kind of sucks.
Music is the soundtrack of our lives, literally.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah. So I wrote down Tuesday, June 26, 1990, LA Guns at Exclusive Company. And I remember calling in to work saying I had a flat tire in Oshkosh that I wouldn't be able to come in for my shift because I was meeting LA Guns. And then we went in the back, talked to them as they were kind of getting on the bus, and they were all fucked up. They were on high on something. They were just not right. But I think they were playing in Green Bay, which was a 21 plus venue.
Sure.
And I think I was 16. Well, June 1990. Yeah, I would have been 16. And I don't know why. Why do you think they didn't have Cocked and Loaded on the, you know, if you can see that part of the cassette? It just says LA Guns.
That is really odd.
Do I have a
Well, it was
rare?
kind of in the middle of the PMRC era.
Did you
So
get that from the BMG record club?
No, not this one. I didn't get this one from them. I think I bought it that day.
It's from Columbia House.
No. Yeah, because sometimes those will just have the black label.
BMG is notorious for that. I'd rather just
I think I bought
somebody on a Max L tape and say good enough.
I think I bought this that day that we got it signed at Exclusive Company.
Yeah, because I mean, the first one's self-titled, so if you have those two together,
yeah. So I was thinking, like, what the heck? Like, I'm sure I talked about it back in the day, but it bothers me that that doesn't say it. I mean, it's a small enough letters that they left room for it.
Yep.
So it's not filling up the whole. So is this a rare printing?
Yeah, I think you should put that on eBay and get some ching for it.
People want to Allison and Mike as their signatures.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are these all original? I can't really tell. Kelly Nichols, Tracy Guns, I can read. And I can read Phil Lewis, but I can't read these other ones.
one say Steve Riley or
Well, that one must be Steve right there.
yeah, it looks like a SNR. Yeah.
But I don't know who this is. This first one.
That's probably the drummer.
Yeah. Bobby Blotzer? No, that's Rat.
No, well, Steve Riley's the drummer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, Mick Cripps was the other guitar player. So.
Oh yeah, that's Mick Cripps.
Stepped on my touchdown call, you jerk.
And we never did finish our live got hijacked by a turnip
Turn
lady.
up the radio.
Yeah,
that's gonna ruin that song for me forever now. I won't be able to unhear it.
So the guy that we did the first shout out for, that Charlie X guy,
yeah,
he wasn't on TikTok for a long time. He used to be on there like doing trivia. That's how I met him. And then I haven't seen him for a while. And then I started seeing him again. And I was trying to do a stump Doug kind of thing where because the last one on our way home, there was a guy that was trying to stump Doug on, I can't remember what the question
Rudy
was.
Sarzo. Yeah. Name all the bands Rudy Sarzo's been in.
And Doug starts rattling shit off, and the guy's like, wow, I'm impressed. Okay. So then on the way there, I decided, okay, I'll label it Stump Doug. And we didn't get we started getting a little bit of interaction. And then Charlie X came on, and usually I was on his, but he's on ours. And all of a sudden, this lady joined, and I must have hit the allow her to join or something. I couldn't figure out how to remove her. And she's like some Asian from across the world showing her garden stuff
Yeah,
and
hawking
talking
our
like,
turnips.
and I couldn't understand her anyways. And like, what are you trying to do? And she's like waving at me and stuff like that. And I couldn't figure out how to just get rid of, I figured out how to mute her, but I'm like, how do you get rid of somebody you don't want on there? So,
Yeah.
and then Charlie X goes, turn up the radio. Because she was hawking like turnips. She had these big ass turnips. I don't know. I totally forgot about I started a joke too, because that is not that different than easy.
I started to cry.
And I like both them and the Bee Gees.
I started to
That's
cry.
one of my
Which
favorite Bee
started-
Gees songs. Probably my second or third favorite Bee Gees song, behind Alone.
Oh, I don't know what that song is.
Yeah, you should listen. It's a good song. And then Faith No More does what I feel is a good version of it, but it isn't that different. It's like Easy, where they didn't take any chances. And I wonder if that's just kind of their thing, is where they're picking songs like that and making them more normal.
Well, Foo Fighters just did like a Bee Gees album right before Drummer died.
Yep.
And I love some of their covers because they just, take the original and destroy it. And they played the Bee Gees songs almost
identical.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like,
that was weird.
why am I listening to this? I just listen to the Bee Gees and this isn't what I expected. Yeah, that one video that Wolfgang did for Don't Back Down, it shows him playing every instrument. Like the band is 4 Wolfgangs, which reminded me of that video Alf put together when he was on that show, when he did a video of him playing all the instruments.
I don't know if I know what that is. Him singing Bathroom Wall with Brett Muscat.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, Doug, if you get George Lynch on here?
Yeah.
I mean,
he when I talked to him at the Fridley show 8 years ago, he couldn't have been cooler.
Yeah.
Just blew me away. I know I was telling Mike this, I don't know if I ever shared it with you, Brad. So the only other person I had like a semi meet and greet was with George Lynch.
Yeah.
So he was at the merch table of one of his shows, and he's playing a club here. And so the opening band went up. So they were at the merch table between the when they were tearing down between performances. So I went over and the guy's like, George played a guest solo on our record. So I'm like, well, you guys are awesome, Sierra. Oh, here's $20. I'll buy both your CDs. And had no idea that George was gonna be at the merch table too after his show. So I went up there talking to him, and this was right after George did a record with Michael Sweet from Stryper.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, and was telling him how much I liked the record and I thought it was awesome. And he's like, oh, hang on. And he's taking out his phone and he goes, oh yeah, we're actually working on a second record right now. Here, somewhere here, I got the basic tracks we're working on. So he was going to pull it up on the phone and play it for me. And I'm like, and just didn't try to push me along, just had more than enough time. Just, we're shooting shit. So then they had CDs and stuff to buy. And so I gave him the other band's CD to sign. And he kind of looked and he's like, well, this isn't our CD. Why are you having me? Well, you did a solo or two on this, right? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, sorry, I already spent all my extra cash on these, not knowing you were gonna. So he signed that, and then he's like, oh, hang on. He grabbed one of his other CDs. He signed it. Here, this is on me. I'm like, dude, you're killing me here. You're my idol, and you couldn't be any cooler. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I came away pleased with that. So
yeah, That's awesome. I know when we saw Michael Schenker doing the UFO stuff in September, Matt and his son got the meet and greet for that and said he was really quiet and didn't want to touch anybody, probably germaphobe, but
Yeah.
his son asked him, so what's your favorite thing about, being out on tour and playing these songs? And he's like, I just like to play. Like, don't talk to me, don't ask me questions.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. Yeah.
I don't really want to interact with you. I'm doing this meet and greet because they're forcing me to do it.
Yeah.
Well, you wonder about some of these guys that are introverts but play music.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not their forte, is actually talking to people. Like when you're up on stage, a lot of times you can't even see the people because of the bright lights.
Yeah.
So it's probably easier for an introvert on stage than to do a meet and greet.
Yeah. That's why I wasn't surprised when the $400 price tag came out for the Yngwie Malmsteen ones. It's like, yeah, he doesn't want to talk to anybody. He doesn't even like to talk to the people in his band.
Well, more is more, right, Doug? More is more.
So the only meet and greet I've ever been a part of is my buddy Keith and I went to go see Marty Friedman, guitar player who was with Megadeth. So he's doing a solo thing now where he's got a Japanese backup band because he lives in Japan now full time. But so we did a meet and greet and brought about a dozen of us onto his tour bus, and we sat there 45 minutes. He just shooting shit and couldn't have been more hospitable. Just answered every question, go on and on about the only weird thing about it was he's a very germ freak.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't do any shaking hands, no fist bumps or anything. But I'm supposed, last thing you want to do is get a cold or something when you're out on tour and then now you're sick. And but as far as just, I mean, one guy brought in one of his guitars of a signature model and he was more than happy to sign it, picked it up, played on it a while. So the guy said, oh my God, he's playing my guitar. No, I really can't touch this anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I think meet and greets should be. But I've done the one or two with Jeff Tate where they just kind of walk you through and ask him a question or two while he's signing it. But
they
don't really want you to stop and chat. They want you to keep moving and get everybody through.
You talk about the germ freaks though, like what about back in the heyday when these guys are getting smooching and like they're lucky they didn't have COVID back then.
Yeah. I think Wolfgang Van Halen would be a really tough interview. I almost sense that he's still a little fragile for what he's been through. Maybe I've just seen him do so many other interviews where he's talking about, when he replaced Michael Anthony and at the age of 16 and big band like that, he's like, all of a sudden there's all these 40-year-olds that hate me, and being a 16-year-old, I can't process that. And then losing his dad, I mean, he had the album pretty much done, so he heard a lot of the songs, but he hasn't been around to see him strike out on his own, and can kind of tell by how big he's gotten, some of the stuff that he says on social media, when haters go after him, you can tell it really gets to him because he fights back.
Wasn't he just interviewed by the Smashing Pumpkins guy?
Yeah.
Those interviews have been pretty good when I've been able to catch those. Like he had Stephen Piercy on and
he does a lot of, when he finally lets his guests talk. The thing about Billy Corgan is, he's the host, but if you're doing an interview, you're not supposed to talk more than your guest. He's got to set up his question, and he asks it in 3 different ways before he finally hands it over.
I find that annoying.
And with that interview in particular, I was kind of pissed off. It's like, I'm not going to talk to you about your dad, but, and they go on for 15 minutes about,
I find that annoying.
Being Eddie's son, and it's like, why don't you talk to him about his music?
Everybody in the world wants to talk to you about your pop. I promised you we weren't going to talk.
I'm used to it though.
No, but here's the thing.
Jackyl. Part of him going out and playing the solo for Hot for Teacher note for note at the tribute for the Foo Fighters drummer was kind of his, that's not me. I have to pretty much tell people at just about every show I'm not playing any Van Halen stuff. That's my dad's band. I was in the band, by the way, but it isn't any different than going to a Foo Fighters show and bitching at them to play Nirvana stuff. You're not supposed to do that. It's like, okay, I did it. Don't ask me to do it again. I can show you that I can do it, but that's enough now. Leave me alone.
I've had a lot happen in my life in the last, 6 years.
And some of his lyrics pretty much say the same thing.
Now get me far away from here.
So he seems to be struggling to find his way, but he's getting bigger, so that helps. I just wonder if he's going to stick with it.
He's like, you know what? I watched this Three Guys podcast, and this Brad had my back. He knew exactly what I was trying to say to these people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackyl.
Yes. Well, I hope you let me put some of this content out because this is some good stuff.
Yeah. Do a meet and greet with at a show just to get to talk to them. Although those, you pay $100 to shake their hand, get a picture and an autograph, and then it's on to the next person. It's not, if you can squeeze in a few words during the process, great, but chances are you're not having much of a conversation unless you're one of 10 people that are in there.
Mm-hmm. You paid $250 to do it.
They usually get 100 and something. Yngwie Malmsteen wanted 400, which I kind of took that as he doesn't really want to talk to anybody. But he's
how much would it be to see Vinnie Vincent? You'd have to give the deed to your house.
That would be awesome.
We've got some upcoming shows with, for Doug and I. Next month, we're going to see The Who, and we're not seeing Baba O'Reilly Who. We're seeing, is it Mongolian?
Yeah.
Who? So, and Apocalypta or something like that is opening up, and I've seen them open up for Hailstorm. They do a lot of Apocalypta, I think it's called. They do a lot of like string instrument Metallica stuff. Again, these two are foreign bands. I love the unique instruments that I've seen so far from these bands. And Doug, you know a little bit. You actually seen The Who live.
Yeah,
So-
they opened up for Iron Maiden. Absolutely blew me away. So unique.
And you were saying that live is different than recorded for them. So you got to see it live.
Right after I got home, I'm like, oh, I have to figure out more stuff for these guys and pull up a couple of their music videos on YouTube. And I'm like, that wasn't the same band.
I'm actually looking forward to, because Doug, you haven't seen the other band, and I haven't seen this band, and I just love unique music like that. And then a couple of days later, we'll see Tom Kiefer with John Corabi opening up. That's going to be awesome. If you're at any of these shows in Minnesota or Wisconsin, stop. Try to say hi if you recognize this. Maybe we'll have a sticker in her pocket to hand you because Mrs. Coach K printed us some stickers. I got to get Brad some, but we'd love to talk to you at these shows. If you're at any of these. You looking forward to Tom Kiefer, Doug? I know the last time you and I saw him, it was such a great show.
Pours every ounce of energy he has in. He leaves nothing.
And Brad, were you saying like he has some kind of really long vocal routine he's got to do before each show because of his voice?
I heard that his vocal exercises on the day of the show push 90 minutes to 2 hours.
Wow.
It's almost like the equivalent of doing a show the same day as doing the show.
Well, I know when we talked to Rob, we were talking about the vocal. I can't believe you can go 2 hours and sing Iron Maiden stuff. But Kiefer, like his stuff, and the fact that he doesn't mail it in at these shows, that he's dripping sweat and he's giving us everything. And, the Medina Ballroom's great, but it's not 13,000 people, but he's singing to us like it's 13,000 people. So I appreciate that these guys like him are going to keep putting on great shows like that, and we'll keep paying the money to come see him. So, and then this summer you got AC/DC at Madison, right, Brad?
Yeah. I'll be seeing AC/DC at Camp Randall Stadium where the Wisconsin Badgers play football.
Nice. You looking forward to that one?
That one, yeah, I haven't seen AC/DC. It'll be, I think, 31 years since I've seen them.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I think I seen them last at Alpine Valley, and that was Money Talks. I got the dollar bill that came from the sky. That was awesome. But yeah, it's been 30 plus years. So, I mean, probably not to knock on wood, but sometimes these are the last opportunities we get with some of these bands. So that's cool that you get to see them. Some other ones I got coming up. We're going to do a road trip. Mrs. Coach and I out towards Denver. We're going to go to the Red Rocks Amphitheater. I heard that's awesome.
Nice. Yeah.
And we're going to see Blues Traveler. I don't have my hat on, but I love that band. I know that they don't play my favorite songs from them, at least on the set lists I have, but I'm really looking forward to that God-made structure with Red Rocks. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures online or if you've ever been. Oh, geez, if you've ever been to Red Rock, let me know your experience. I'd love to hear it. If you've got any clips from something, I'd love to see those. But that's one of the highlights that I'm looking forward to in that trip. And at first, when we were looking at it, it looked like some kind of laser show. What do you call those? Where they just, what are those kind of concerts where they're just all stoned? And I can't think of the name. Shoot.
Like a rave?
Rave. Yeah, like a rave.
Yeah.
And this was a while ago, and it's like, well, we want to go to Red Rock, but Carol can. I don't think I could stand 2 hours of whatever that was. But yeah, and then the lights everywhere and stuff.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden we found out, because when I first looked up, it said Blues Traveler was going to be on the 4th of July, but then it was like last year. I'm like, why are they posting this? So somehow the dates, I think, got mixed up when I first looked at it, but now we officially saw that it was and bought the tickets and whatnot. So really looking forward to that. I would love to see what you viewers think about Red Rock in near Denver. Also, the Minnesota State Fair, Weird Al's coming back, so I'm going to see Weird Al again. And I know it's the same tour. I just saw him, but doesn't matter. Every time he comes, I'll see him. Anybody got any other ones that you got coming up on the pipe?
Yeah, I've got Jeff Tate, formerly from Queensryche, is doing the entire Operation Mindcrime album from start to finish again at the end of the month here, coming up in Green Bay.
That's right, and that's the last time, right? Like he's packing it?
He was around last year.
Okay.
And so the tour is still going. So
okay.
you got enough people to to come see him in Green Bay that
Nice.
he's coming back to do it again. But this time he's going to have an orchestra playing along with him.
Oh, really?
Which I'm really curious about, and he's actually doing a volume 3 of Mindcrime. There's a new album coming out of all new music the first week of May.
Okay.
He dropped the single for it a week or two ago.
Well, what's the venue that he's bringing this orchestra to?
He's at the Epic Event Center.
Okay.
in Green Bay. It used to be a Gordman's department store, and they converted it into a music.
So, Doug, is he playing over here? Because I talked about this last time, but every time I look at a band that's going to be here, they're either at the Epic in Green Bay the day before or the day after they're here in Minnesota. So I don't remember seeing that one here anywhere. But it would be, Brad, you got to get some film for us. I would love to see what that looks like and get some shorts out on that. And I know we talked about this before, and every time they say, oh, this is the last time, I don't know we can believe that, but also, like, it certainly could be the last time. And, you know, if you get opportunities to see these bands, let us know what you think about what the concerts you've seen.
Yeah, he's at the Varsity Theater on April 29th in Minneapolis.
Really?
Yeah, he's at the Epic on the 30th. So
okay, so I must have just missed that, but I wasn't always the biggest Queensryche fan. Matter of fact, Empire to me is one of the best albums of all time for our genre, but I couldn't get into stuff before as much. I know Doug really likes Queen of the Reich and all that kind of stuff, but I haven't. But again, you know, I don't know if I can add another concert to my bill right now, especially with the trip coming up. But yeah.
So the other one I got going on is taking my sons and a couple other buddies to go see Avenged Sevenfold, I think in July at the new Mystic Lake Amphitheater.
Okay. Let me know how that venue is. We got to get some video from that too.
Yeah.
They were Avenged Sevenfold before Avenged Sevenfold was Avenged Sevenfold. That's one of my favorite parts of last episode.
They were, you know, especially guitar player. He was Avenged Sevenfold before Avenged Sevenfold was Avenged Sevenfold.
Like you knew like how you were catching it like halfway through. It's like, well, I'm committed now. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to like and subscribe and share with anybody that loves music. We appreciate all the feedback that we've been getting, all the comments, all the likes, even some of the things that you don't like. It's kind of neat to read some of those, but my favorite ones are the stories that you all come up with of the first time you saw that band or this kind of thing. Go and check out our TikTok and our YouTube for these comments. I mean, some of these are awesome to hear, so keep them coming. Guys, what do you think?
Yeah, just like to hear other people's opinions of the songs that we brought this week for our flashbacks. You know, tell us what your thoughts are. You know, were they new songs to you, or what your breakdown of them?
Yeah, we're on here to talk about music and anything that you want to contribute in terms of ideas of things for us to talk about. We love hearing new songs that are old songs that we've never heard before. So keep them coming.
Yes, thank you. And to Rob Hussey, if you make it this far in this video, or if you skipped ahead just to see this part, go back and watch the interview with Rob Hussey. What a great guy. Appreciate him coming on. Looking forward to seeing what his new video coming out on May 15th is going to be about. Go buy the physical CD of Cyanide. It's got the two ellipses that make it even cool. Like
the umlauts.
Is that what it's called?
Yep.
What are ellipses? I got the wrong thing. And what Doug said. But it still brings you back to that time. And again, thank you, Rob Hussey, Cyanide. If you're in Vegas, go check him out. Go check out his 3 cover bands. Thanks again. This is 3 Guys on a Record. I'm Coach signing off.
I'm Doug.
And I'm Brad.
Rock and roll.